See my life has been in motion, I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. Alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with Perky, now that hair by numbers veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder, I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed through, we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the feds, giving names. Who gon' feed my family if they take me out the game? Keep one in the head and one eye open, that ain't change. I'm quick to catch a body. When I shoot, he shoot, I know bro shooting right beside me. Them hollow tips go through the wall and then they hit his body.
Niggas died at 65.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
Blazing on the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, highway ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. So dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? He $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to somethings. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. Say you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. And stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master, who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God, it's never our vernacular.
Suave on the Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me care. I gotta sleep with one eye open. Church been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid. I won't let them care. They won't see me care. I gotta sleep with one eye open. Church been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. Got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid. I can't let them care. They won't see me care. I put attention, all in my blood, all in my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, church been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid. I won't let them care. They won't see me care. I gotta sleep with one eye open, church been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid. I can't let them care. They won't see me care.
Lost Seahawk, lost Suey, shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the
Peace, man. Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines, man. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power. How y'all feeling this grand rising, man? How y'all feeling? Can we get some fire emojis in the building? Shout out to all the American Aborigines that's tuning in. I want to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you guys. It's really a blessing to see y'all in the chat constantly, man. Constantly putting out this information, constantly making shit work. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate y'all, man. Y'all really some of the realest motherfuckers around, man. Shout out to the American Aborigines, man. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power. This is the Wake and Bake Show. This is the Wake and Bake Show. So let me know what y'all smoking on and where y'all at this grand rising. What are y'all smoking on and where you are at this grand rising? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Oh, man. It's a lit one, man. This is part 2 to the build that we had yesterday, part 2. So make sure y'all tune in with that, man. It's really going to be a dope ass build, man. We got 68 people already in here. I want to shout out everybody in the building, man. I do want to shout out everybody that's in the live stream, tapping in, that's not able to comment in the chats. Salute to y'all. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure y'all be, you know what I mean, cool on your daily commute and your daily travels. If you're at work, man, peace and blessings for y'all listening in. I also want to take the time out to shout out some of the brothers and sisters that took their time out to come shout out your brother, Big Aboriginal Power, man. So, let's shout out my elder, Pop Reed in the building. Pop Reed in the building, man. That's the elder in the community. Shout out to Pop Reed. Y'all show some love to Pop Reed. Shout out to Mighty Timberwolf, my boy X8DV Hefe, aka Hardline. If you ain't shopping with the Asteroid brand, make sure y'all go shop with the Asteroid brand, man. Make sure y'all go shop with them. We got my boy Sun Baby in the building. We got TT Portier in the building. We got Big Chief. Fuck you, crackers. That's one of my favorite names of all time. So I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Shout out to my nigga Big Chief. Fuck you, crackers. You understand me? And this is the most indigenous way you can say fuck a cracker. You understand me? Shout out to my nigga Big Chief. You gotta support that name. General Peace. Shout out to General Peace. Shout out to Smoke Signal. Enots in the building. Gotta shout out to Enots. Belize and Knees. Choctaw Hiller. El Bora. Darian Scott. Baby Montezuma of Love. Joshua Stewart. Who else we got in the building, man? Make sure y'all drop them fire emojis as we go on. Shout out to Brother X in the building. El Bora in the building, Mound City Mellow, Khalil, Tontinus Goddess. Who else we have in the building, you guys? We got Juice, Anthony L. Pickens Jr. We have Cotton Picking POW, Darius Matthews, and Chief Kokomo, man. Shout out to y'all in the fucking building, man. Roll up, man. J-Rock, what you smoking on out there, man? It's the Wake and Bake Show. What you smoking on? We got James Delbeck. What up, though? A Supreme Chieftain, what up, though? Keith Graham, what up, though? Georgia Crew, what up, though? Rob McCoy, what up, though? The Entourage Effect, shout out to you. Peace and blessings. Nahula, the Mississippi Moro, shout out to you. American Aborigine, peace to you. Christopher Creer, shout out to my brother from Hawaii. All right, shout out to my Hawaii brother. Peace to you. You understand? Who else we got up in here? I believe that's it, man. Let's lock in. Peace and blessings to everybody, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. This is the Wake and Bake Show. This is the Wake and we smoking on asteroids. I'm smoking on asteroids. I'm smoking asteroids right now, man. We smoking asteroids, man. We in the building with it. Make sure y'all support the channel. Sing Grill Runts and the Divinity Cream. Fuck is Divinity Cream? Divinity Cream for them ashy ass knuckles. No, this is bullshit. Shout out to my nigga J-Rock. You know I'm on them jokes. Chicago in the building. Chicago in the building. Shout out to Chicago. Salute. Asteroid Runts. Yeah, they got Asteroid, all kind of shit. I'm smoking on Asteroid brand. I think there's some gelato or some type of Runts cake or cake Runts or some shit like that. Shout out if y'all want to smoke on premium smoke. You feel what I'm saying? Go shout out to my boy DV Hefe in the chat, aka Hardline Boss, man. Drop that link to Hardline. Let them know where they can go shop, man. On my mama. Shout out to D-Nee in the building. Shout out to B-Nee in the building. D-Nee in the building. D-Nee. This the part of the bill where you light your wood up. This the part of the bill where you light your wood up. Because we about to get right into this fire-ass information. I'm not even going to hold y'all niggas any longer. Like, this shit is fire. Before we even get cracking, can we get 90 likes in the building? Can we get 90 likes in the building, family? Can we get some people to support the channel? We ain't had one person support yet. Here, go and hit the wood. I know that bitch kind of fucked up, too. That bitch, middle roll that bitch. Here, hit that bitch. You know what I mean? Hit that motherfucker on my mama. Y'all can hit the wood. Asteroids that deal, man. It's all kind of flavors fucking with the Asteroid blend. Make sure y'all come shop with them, man. You got some of the best smoke in the world. Get it to you there in no time, man. Shout out to my boy, man. If y'all want to shop with my boy, go shop with him. Shout out to Lewis Luck in the building. Shout out to Lewis Luck, man. It's Lewis Luck. What up with it, Brody? Jaguar Clout, what up? Jaguar Clout, what up? Manguza, what up, though? I didn't see you in here. Earth and Fire Multi Solutions, what's going on? I didn't see y'all in here. Y'all slipped by me. I didn't see y'all. Shout out to y'all, though. Y'all, I don't let too much slip. T. Cortez, what up, Cortez? Little Tez. I'm start calling niggas Tez. What up, Tez? That's how the nigga said. That's why I should call my brother. My older brother name was Cortez. I was called, what's up, Tez? What you got going on, bro? Rest in peace, Cortez, on my mom. Hey, shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all drop a fire emoji in the chat. If y'all can drop a fire emoji in the chat, that let me know that y'all can hear me loud and clear. Go and drop a fire emoji. Shit. Knocked on my goddamn ashtray. Just sold this one. Shout out to my man Lucky Guzman, too, man. Supporting the hood nigga Netflix. Shout out to Khalil Smith for the $2 Cash App donation. Shout out to Khalil Smith. Man, we got at least one person support the channel already. Shout out to Khalil Smith for supporting the $2 challenge, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Don't let my brother Khalil be the only one out there to support the channel. Yeah, I'm talking to you, nigga. Don't let my boy Khalil be the only one to support the channel. Make sure y'all support. You understand me? Shout out to everybody in the building. Dream Wakes, what's up? What's up with it, man? Y'all know we went down to fuck with Sister Betty this weekend, so it was a turn up, man. I'm just now catching up on my rest. Nigga was tired. X8DB Hefe, I need some of that. Yeah, man, go and get with my brother Harline, man, aka DV Hefe, man, the best smoke in the town. And I got something coming soon, man. I can't even release what I got coming soon for y'all. Y'all gonna be dope. I know y'all gonna be ready to support, especially all my waking bakers. Man, I got something very special coming real soon that I'm working on. So y'all know what's up. Let me finish my set, then I'm gonna roll up. Go ahead, do your thing, Lucky Guz. You know I fucks with you. I know you in the building. Shout out to the hood nigga Netflix. Sheila King, what up, Sheila? Sheila, how you doing, sister? How you doing, sister? I want to give a special shout out. I want all my fellas in the chat, all my gods in the chat, to give a special shout out to the empresses and the goddesses in the chat. I want to give a special shout out to the empresses and the goddesses in the chat. Y'all are very supportive. Y'all been since day one. Y'all some of the brightest people in the chat. And y'all kind of keep the energy from being so turmoil. I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. Shout out to Dr. Corder in the building. Dr. Corder in the building, man. Shout out to my boy, Dr. Corder. So, yeah, man. It's going down, man. Drop some fire emojis in the chat for the sisters, man. The Bible of Truth, 1948. What up with it? What up with you? Yeah, I saw a piece of that on Chief Holiday's bill. When I cashed app him, it was William Wilson, just for your information. Okay. Hey, man, don't forget while we getting cracking, man. Let's get 100 likes in the building. It's going to get 100 likes. Before we even get started, don't forget we have the pay-per-view coming up August the 7th, this Sunday, August the 7th. Me, Antanchin this one, Jaguar Omac, and a special guest will be presenting the pay-per-view American Gods. American Gods is going down. Make sure y'all support it. If y'all want to get all the information you need, links is in the description to everything you need. Make sure y'all support the pay-per-view, man. Y'all going to want to go ahead and purchase it so you can get them links sent out to you. It's going to be a beautiful, fire-ass build. It's going to be one of the best builds we've seen in a long time. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the live stream, man. It's going to be one of those ones. So if y'all want to support the pay-per-view, links in the description to the American Gods. Me, Antanchin this one, Jaguar Omac, and a special guest will be on that pay-per-view. So make sure y'all support that. Coffee with my wood, man. You already know I'm my mama, nigga. Coffee with the wood, nigga. And my coffee cup, I forgot that bitch in the car. Y'all know I took that bitch out of town. Took that bitch straight out of town. You understand me? That shit kind of hot. Coffee in the wood, boy. You understand me? We ready to go. You know what I'm saying? We ready to go up in this motherfucker. Drop a fire emoji if you're a proud Aborigine in this bitch. Some of y'all niggas be suspect. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Y'all don't feel that Aboriginal spirit, nigga. I walk with my motherfucking chest out when I know I'm an Aboriginal, nigga. You understand me? That is how I walk, man. Because it's so much pride when installed in you once you start having knowledge yourself. Once you start getting knowledge yourself, you start getting cockier. You know what I'm saying? Your muscles start getting huge all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Like on my mama. You understand? Real shit. Y'all niggas don't even understand that part. They get real strong. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Oh, we already did. Who we got up in here? We got my boy William Wilson, aka American Aborigine, and we got the Tempest, aka Pt2 Portier. Shout out to Pt2 Portier in the building. Shout out to my boy William Wilson in the building for the Cash App donation, supporting the $2 challenge. I appreciate y'all, man. Real talk. I appreciate the love and support. For real. Shout out to everybody. My brother, nonetheless, man, you already know what the fuck going on, none. Tell them, none, when you start getting that Aboriginal information, boy, your ass start getting cock diesel. Your ass start running around like you the Hulk, boy. Talking about your ass can't go nowhere without feeling strong, boy. Your ass is an immigrant. You fucking on, boy. You know what I'm talking about? I be on that. You know what I'm saying? Wherever I'm at, I'm on that, nigga. Fuck you talking about? My mama, nigga, I'm a proud Aboriginal, nigga. Nigga can't tell me nothing. We smoking on Hefe, nigga. We smoking on asteroids. Go hit my boy DVX Hefe up. Hit Hefe up, DV Hefe, if y'all want the asteroids. You understand me? Hey, for those that been supporting the brand, make sure y'all go support. If y'all ain't shopping Aboriginal, if you ain't dressing Aboriginal, what better time than to do it this summer, right before the fall? Go get you some of the Aboriginal merch. Go to weare2am.com. Go to weare2am.com. Go get you some of that Aboriginal merch. Go get you some Supreme Chief Holiday merch. You know what I'm saying? You got the goat in the tux. You got the goat tux, the tuxedo goat. You know what I mean? Merch. Go fuck with my boys, man. I got top cats in the wood. Ooh, wee. Peace and blessings to Top Cat, man. Peace and blessings to every Aboriginal in the world that pushes this Aboriginal information, man. I ain't got nothing but love for everybody. Everybody. You understand me? With me being the voice of the Aborigines, man, we got to set the tone and the vibration for what we own, man. So I ain't got no hate with nobody, man. It's peace and blessings, man. You understand me? It's peace and blessings. You can invite Big Al to the cookout. I'm not coming with no smoke, except for Zaki. You understand me? I'm not coming with no smoke. Strictly Zaki. All right. Shout out to my sister Chick Harmony Roots once again, man. Shout out to Chick Harmony Roots, man. If y'all want y'all nice, authentic, handmade, handcrafted design off of your aura, dream catcher, a dream catcher based off of your aura, hit up my sister Chick Harmony Roots. She the best in the game. I know, I'm just fucking with you, Khalil. You know what I'm saying? I got a little bit of it in my wood too. I got that nigga in my wood too. My mama, man. Yeah, y'all know I'm just bullshit. But now, real talk though, you know, it's like that, man. We like that. It's all love with everybody. I joke around and shit. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like I could show y'all some shit like that. Like, yeah, I'm smoking on that today, but nah, nigga, come on, kid. Hey, Cherry Hill in the building. Up top, what up with it? Cherry Hill, Baltimore. What's up with it? If y'all in Cherry Hill, where you at? Up top with it or you down bottom with it? See, you gotta know about the hoods, man. I'll be out here. Are you up top with it or you down bottom with it? If you down bottom, go holler at my nigga Bubbles if you need some smoke. You know, my mom. What's your cash out, brother? Oh, yeah, let me put that on the screen. That's on the screen right now, ticking across. It's ticking across. It's ticking across. The pay-per-view, if you like I said, if y'all want the pay-per-view, all the information to the pay-per-view is in the description box. All information, all payment will be being sent to the Cash App in the description box. And make sure you put your email in the description when you send in the purchase. Make sure you put your email in so we can have a way to send you an address to send the link to. All right. Shout out to my brother Tayshawn, tapping in from Jersey. Shout out to Tayshawn. Shout out to Tayshawn. Shout out to Tayshawn. You know I like to chop it up with y'all. I got a fire bill lined up, man. I ain't even got to it yet. We just chopping it up right now. I got it right now ready to load. Got that shit ready to go. We smoking on the wood right now. You know what I'm saying? Wax blunt and Blue Mountain coffee. A wax blunt. Yeah, you load it up, boy. Your ass about to be sleep. Boy, if you want to smoke some good wax, you want to smoke good moon rocks, where's the description box? Somebody said, where's the description box? Can somebody explain? Look, if you go out the live chat, right? If you go out the live chat, you will see in the little square of your YouTube is you can hit the little button. That's like the description. The little arrow that's facing down, you hit that motherfucker, and that's where the description is. You go to the description box in the video. Can somebody explain to my brother X exactly where the description box is of this live stream? It's right below. It's right below the share button. It's right below the like button. It's right below the clip button. It's right below all that. What's up, Curious One? Black Wolf. No lie. No. What's my man name? Knowledge the Most. What's up, Knowledge? Baltimore in the building. Baltimore. Fuck on, stupid. That's my nigga. I fuck with Baltimore, man. I fuck with Baltimore heavy. Fuck on, stupid. The niggas in Baltimore, boy. What y'all know about that? What they be doing? That mumbo sauce, huh? You don't think I'll be down there? Think I'll be getting my wings and potatoes, man? I want extra mumbo on my shit, nigga. When I come to Baltimore and DC, y'all know I'll be in the area. Y'all know I'm out there. I really be out there. Cherry Hill, up top, all that. West Side, all that. Lexington Avenue, all that. You understand me? I'm out here. My mama. Cherry Hill torn down now. Down, knowledge. Knowledge the most. Oh, okay, shit. I didn't even know they tore down Cherry Hill. Shit, I was just out there a couple years ago. Hey, dummy. Yeah, you know I Baltimore funny as hell. My mama. Hey, but listen, man, I got a nice bill for you guys this Grand Rising, man. I ain't gonna hold you guys up any longer. I ain't gonna hold you guys up any longer, man. We're gonna get right into it right now. I got a prelude. Y'all remember the bill we was doing yesterday? If y'all remember, let me know. If y'all remember the bill from yesterday, let me know. Do y'all remember the bill from yesterday? Yes or no? Let me know if y'all remember it. Let me know if y'all niggas remember the bill from yesterday. If y'all do, let me know. Cause we're gonna get right back into it. Y'all know my computer shut off. I didn't get to finish it. So we're gonna get right into that motherfucker right now. But I'm gonna give y'all a prelude. Before we get back into the actual video, I got another video setting up the rest of the video. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to India Goddess in the building, man. Shout out to India Goddess in the building, man. Shout out to my sister. Salute to you, man. Peace and blessings for tapping in, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. Shout out to my boy, Son of California, for supporting the $2 challenge. Excuse me. Shout out to my boy, Son of California, man. Peace and blessings. We appreciate all the support. Shout out to Son of California for supporting the $2 challenge. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Show some love to my boy, Son of California. Also, show some love to TT Portier, William Wilson, and Khalil Smith for supporting the channel, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Real talk, honestly. All right, man. With that being said, man, let's get right into it. We're gonna crack open with the interlude, and we'll get into the
video. This video is going to cover a secret history that has been lost to mankind. I think now more than ever, we need to be able to imagine this history as a possibility. I say it that way because you do not have to believe the information in this video. Not only am I not claiming it as fact, but I'm warning you right now the subject may be touchy for many people. So I just want to make that clear that this is just a possible reality, not an attempt to force you to believe anything. Do your own research.
Shout out to the little homie or the brother or the dude that run this channel. Shout out to mindunveiled. You got some interesting and thought-provoking shit that I like to bring to y'all so we can be thought-provoking and add in our own information. So shout out to mindunveiled. Maybe I can get bro on the channel, man. He just commented on one of my videos, man. So he watches Big Ab shit. He's supporting Big Ab shit. I support him as well, man. Shout out to mindunveiled, man. Let's continue this live, man.
And you may decide for yourself what. We have a specific education that is designed for us, and many of us associate crucial parts of this education with our personality. There's nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately, the rulers that be have a specific agenda at play. This video is not to invoke racism in any way, shape, or form. The purpose is to throw it out in hopes that it may be useful to all my brothers and sisters, regardless of skin color, that we may see past the boundaries of race or ratios, but we all share the same life that is light. We have been fed lies in order to keep one thing consistent: identity crisis. This was by design. Otherwise, why have we not heard more of the true origin of the name of California? It's named after a magnificent black Moorish queen. By Moor, I mean indigenous enlightened melanated peoples. I don't think our current culture can truly understand how enlightened the indigenous races of these lands were. The prevailing American culture in the youth today revolves around demeaning women, money, and the lust for power. Our ancestors would not only be embarrassed, but disappointed in how lost we have become. Specifically, the indigenous Moors inhabiting what was left of Mu, or what is known in the Spanish legend as the island of California, were known for their grand psychic abilities. The females ruled as their psychic and mental abilities were far superior than the males. They were master shamans as they could navigate between realms at will, something our modern culture can't even begin to comprehend. The closest topics that we have is dreams, astral projection, but these concepts still don't fully explain to the modern mind the full dynamic of what these ancient lands were like. We can imagine it, but we prescribe that to the realm of fantasy. How do we know this? Well, this tale comes from a Spanish fantasy novel from the 1500s from our modern mainstream timeline, Las Sergas de Esplandian by Montalvo. It is said to be ancient legends, and most people at the time even believed it to be true. Here's what mainstream history says. The Adventures of Esplandian is the fifth book in a series of Spanish chivalric romance novels by Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo, which began with Amadis de Gaula, an even older series. Even Hernan Cortez, who would conquer the Aztec Empire and name the state of California, believed in their legend.
Hey, don't he look like a nigga though? Sidebar. He don't really look like the typical white Spanish man. He looked like a light-skinned Negro, you know what I'm saying, to me.
I want you to pay attention to the symbols. It will be important later. Bernal Diaz says, quote, "We were seized with admiration and declared they seemed like the castles of enchantment recorded in the book of Amadis de Gaula, grand towers, temples, and edifices that seemed to rise from the water. And all these were constructed of stone and mortar. Some of our soldiers said they could not be sure whether they were really seeing this or were dreaming." Now, I have to start this off as if you've never watched a video on this channel. Now
look at these two fellas. This look like a mixed breed of some sort, and this is obviously a Negro. Possibly Arab slave. Arab ain't nothing mixed with a Negro and something else. A Spanish, a white person of some sort. It's usually the Phoenician Dutch that disguise themselves as Sicilians, Italians, Greeks, Spanish. These are all the same people. So when you see a mixed people, Arab is the same people that come from this that same bloodline. You understand me? We're gonna break that down too.
I have to start this off as if you've never watched a video on this channel. However, there are more videos on the channel that break off as if you've never whether they were really seeing this or were dreaming. Now, I have to start this off as if you've never watched a video on this channel. However, there are more videos on the channel that break down the lie of history if you wish to see it explained further. This is more of a sequel to the understanding that our entire history is a lie. Many have heard of the theory of Tartaria by now, but in short, the history we are fed in the education systems are a falsity. A lie designed to keep us enslaved, enslavement through identification crisis. They have taught us to identify ourselves with monkeys, that all human beings originate from Africa, that we evolved through fear and survival, as our consciousness mysterious.
Man, that's some bullshit. I don't never want. Now listen, mindunveiled. I know you ain't listening right now, but you're gonna listen later. Boy, you know goddamn well that Black Americans don't look like no Africans. We don't even got African science. Africa ain't even got no science that's known. Don't nobody in the world build their life and sustain themselves off of Nile Valley science or Kemetic science. Niggas, all Aboriginal shit over here, man. Shout out to the Aborigines, man. If y'all deep in the chat, if you an Aborigine, man, I want to see y'all drop a fire emoji in the chat. Shout out to all the Aborigines in the chat. Shout out to all my FBA brothers and sisters as well, man. Let's continue to live.
They have taught us to identify ourselves with monkeys, that all human beings originate from Africa, that we evolved through fear and survival, as our consciousness mysteriously forms through some type of physical means. The origin that we are given, of course, is but a random explosion of nothing. They then give us false, soulless history. But many of us know that there's something more. Deep in our subconscious, we know the stories of Atlantis and advanced ancient civilizations. It's a part of our collective memory. We are taught that we had a linear progress of evolution when the truth of the matter is that there have been multiple cataclysms in the past. We know of this too. Everyone knows of the story of the flood. It is the most known story in the world. That kind of trauma would never go away within our psyches. Yet, that would mean that we de-evolved, that we were once great nations who had achieved peace and saw past the boundaries of race, ratios. We developed advanced spiritual practices and had truly reached the golden age. Many technologies existed that would be hard for the modern man to imagine possible. In this day, we have lost our sovereignty, our minds, our sense of divinity. We have been fed materialism from our birth. The spirit in many of our people are dwindling, but this is the age of awakening. In the official timeline that they give us, the fall of Rome is 2,000 years ago. It's very difficult in a short segment to fully explain everything, especially the timeline, but the way I would put it is that these ancient architectures that we call Greco-Roman are actually from Atlantis, and Atlantis is likely not 13,000 years ago as Graham Hancock suggests. Remember, he believes that we came from monkeys. Atlantis is of a much more recent time, and what was part of what we now know as America. It's hard to comprehend the nature of this reality, and shocking to realize the drastic measures.
Now, we already proved that time and time again that America is Atlantis, according to researchers, according to archaeologists, according to anthropologists. Shout out to my brother Jaguar Omac for being one of the first people in the Aboriginal community to drop bills and prove that Atlantis was America. Shout out to my boy Jaguar Omac, man. If you ain't seen them bills, go check out Jaguar Omac's channel. Go look at that Atlantis in America part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Dope series. Go check it out, man.
Measures that have taken place in such a short period of time. Many scholars in the modern day have tried to create a new timeline, such as Fomenko and Isaac Newton. The origin of our modern timeline comes from a man named Scaliger. This is where we get our mainstream timeline, but many debate that this is a falsity created by a specific religious group. This group falsified history in order to make it seem as if they have the most ancient religion. The first hint that we see to this is Origen versus Celsus, in which Origen argues for the antiquity of the Jews. It's obvious out of this piece that Origen is purposely concealing the secret history of the Hyperboreans. Now, another piece of the puzzle that you need to understand is the Phoenicians. Very important. In our administered history, they date the Phoenicians to about 5,000 years ago. But this group is actually a much more...
See, the Phoenicians are the same people that wrote this whole Ireland, French history. All this French, Canadian, European, Britain history, this shit was constructed by these people, by the Phoenicians. You call them the East Dutch Company. You call them the Rockefellers, the Freemen, the DuPonts, the Rothschild. These are who these people disguised as now. The Nemours. You see what I'm saying? Namers, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, these are the same people. They disguised their
recent time. Earlier, I mentioned to pay attention to the symbol with
just like I'm gonna do a whole bill proving that Epstein come from the Phoenician East Dutch Company background. He wasn't even a real American. He worked for the actual Black Pope himself. How you think he had all this information on how to blackball people in America?
Hernan Cortez.
That's the game.
You will see these symbols everywhere on the only remaining maps, famous characters that we are fed, such as Scaliger. This symbol is the secret symbol for the hidden new rulers, the Headless Knight. The Phoenicians dominated from the eastern Mediterranean to the coast of Africa, all the way to Spain and Northern Ireland in mainstream history. The confusing part about all of this is that history mixes the group that survived and took over the world, the Catholic Jesuits, with the ancient races that once existed in these lands. These were mixed cultures. The cultures that existed arose from the two ancient god races, the ancient Hyperboreans and the ancient Lemurians. There are obviously more layers to this, so I'll try and explain.
He gonna try his best to explain, but he doing what he can off of speculation. I'm just telling you a fact. I'm giving you the facts, man. I'm tapping into the memory cells to get this. My ancestors are these people that they're talking about. Y'all got it confused. You know what I'm saying? Facts.
The ancient Hyperboreans and the ancient Lemurians. There are obviously more layers to this, so I'll try and explain. The original white people that we have in history are of the Aryan or ancient Hyperboreans, who were fair-skinned with red and blonde hair. Their homeland is in ancient Ibernia in the far north. For Black people, the most ancient depiction comes from ancient Irish legends, the Fomorians, a great civilization of great stature who had grand occult abilities. From Donnelly's Atlantis, quote, the Fomorians were from Atlantis. They were called Fomoraic, Fomorag Afriic, and Fomorag, which has been rendered into English as Fomorians. They possess ships, and the uniform representation is that they came, as the name Fomoraic Afraic indicated, from Africa. But in that day, Africa did not mean the continent of Africa as we now understand it.
Right. How the fuck are they going to Africa saying that they come from Africa? That lets you know that Africa does not mean the land that they came from. That's not even their word.
And the ships, and the uniform representation is that they came, as the name Fomoraic Afraic indicated, from Africa. But in that day, Africa did not mean the continent of Africa as we now understand it. Major Wilford, in the 8th volume of the Asiatic Researches, has pointed out that Africa comes from Apar, Aphar, Apara, or Aborica, terms used to signify the West, just as we now speak
Aborica, Amerindian, Amu-Rica. They say Afra. They couldn't pronounce the M, so they say Africa. It's Amu-Rica, which is America. America. Same shit. They just pronouncing it wrong.
Because
they didn't understand the dialect.
Asiatic world as the East. When, therefore, the Fomorians claimed to come from Africa, they simply meant that they came from the West. In other words, from Atlantis. And Major Wilford, in the 8th volume of the Asiatic Researches, has pointed out that Africa comes from Apar, Aphar, Apara, or Aborica, terms used to signify the West, just as we now speak of the Asiatic world as the East. When, therefore, the Fomorians claimed to come from Africa, they simply meant that they came from the West. In other words, from Atlantis. Now, it is said from these ancient legends that the Fomorians were a warlike race, and that they caused great havoc in the world. These are the times when Atlantis was beginning to fall. War was happening constantly. From Donnelly's Atlantis, quote, "The Irish annals speak of the Fomorians as a warlike race, who, according to the annals of Clon MacNoise, were a sept descended from Ham, the son of Noah, and lived in piracy and spoiled other nations, and were in those days very troublesome to the whole world. Were not these the inhabitants of Atlantis, who, according to Plato, carried their primarily focused on Black history, and I wanted to establish the connection between the Moors and other videos on my channel on that.
Oh, if I was talking, my mic was muted, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I'm switching the video to play something else now. This is like a prelude to what he just said. So it's going to summarize everything you just heard in this last 45 minutes of the first video that you heard yesterday. This video is going to summarize for the next part of the video, and this is where we're going to have to start breaking shit down. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, drop a fire emoji. If y'all want to support the channel, links to the PayPal and Cash App information is at the bottom of the screen, y'all. So make sure y'all support the channel.
Irish. All I want to do is get closer to some semblance of the truth, not bring anyone down. Now to begin, we're going to start with the Moors. Black history has been suppressed, and I think we could all learn from this video. The Moors are indigenous, enlightened, melanated peoples. Evidence suggests that the term Moor means more than just black people, as the Berbers are an indigenous tribe that are white with blue and green colored eyes. Contrary to popular belief, the term is not synonymous with Islamic or any specific Arab or African religion, civilization, or ethnicity. But this is the term that I'm going to be using in this presentation to refer to black people, or what we know as African American. The origin of the English term Moor is the Greek word mavro, which literally means black, blackened, or charred. It has been used to describe black for things such as the Mavri Thalassa, which refers to the Black Sea. The Moors have a rich history, though we're never told about this, and I'll tell you why towards the end. The Moors had high civilizations in Egypt, Sumer, Persia, Canaan, Greece, and the ancient Indus Valley. Now remember, guys, I'm trying to look at this from all angles. So in my opinion, I do agree.
Hey, I want to make sure y'all can hear loud and clear. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, drop a fire emoji in the chat. Drop a fire emoji in the chat. Drip check. Shout out to my boy Brown Wolf. Shout out to my boy Brown Wolf. Drip check. All right, man. Appreciate that good looking Hefe. Man, make sure y'all support my boy Hefe in the chat, man. If y'all don't want to smoke good in the morning on y'all wake and bake, man, it's going to send y'all off to a good day every time. Shout out to my boy Hefe. Shout out to my boy Wakandi Manguzi for the Cash App donation. He said, always a fire bill. I appreciate it. Shout out to my brother Manguzi in the chat, man. Make sure y'all support him. Make sure y'all show some love for him supporting the channel, man. Shout out to my man Manguzi for supporting the channel, man. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate all the support. You understand me? If y'all wasn't in the earlier in the build, don't forget the pay-per-view is coming up this Sunday, August the 7th. American Gods, the pay-per-view featuring me, a Thompsonist one, Jaguar Omac, and we also have a special guest that will be presenting information during that pay-per-view as well. So make sure y'all go support it. If y'all want links and get the information to how to purchase the pay-per-view, all the information is in the description box. All right, all the information to how to purchase the pay-per-view is in the description below. So make sure y'all go support and get in that description, support the channel, read all the information that's provided. Now, shout out to everybody in the building. Yeah, man, this is some deep history. Y'all might not understand this. This is for the advanced folks. So shout out to everybody in the building. Can we get to 200 likes in the building? Can we get 200 likes in the building, y'all? Can we get 200 likes in the building? Let's continue.
Though we're never told about this, and I'll tell you why towards the end. The Moors had high civilizations in Egypt, Sumer, Persia, Canaan, Greece, and the ancient Indus Valley. Now remember, guys, I'm trying to look at this from all angles. So in my opinion, I do believe at this time, these were a melting pot of mixed cultures. It wasn't just blacks, it wasn't just whites. There are many different opinions when it comes to the original homeland.
See, this is where I differ with fam, because this is going into some old. This is how Bro Sanchez come up with his weak ass theory that all races, all people was around. No, wasn't no Billies around. Wasn't no Arabs and Chinese people around. Goddamn 20,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago. Wasn't none of these folks around. Y'all see what I'm saying? Wasn't none of these folks around 20, 30,000 years ago, man. Facts.
Land of the Moors. I'm going to give my honest perspective, and it might be different than what you may think. In this video, I'm going to show you the connection between the Moors and the Irish, and I'm going to do this using the myths of the Tuatha De Danann. So here's the one question I want you to ask yourself. If white people are albinos, then where did blue and green eyes come from?
No,
where did red hair come from?
We don't say white people are albinos. See, that's him taking his own theory. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with this at all. Like, I don't agree with this at all. I don't believe white people was the originals, because when you get into the original inhabitants of Ireland, they tell you that the original people of Ireland came from the Pacific Island. And they call themselves Flamorians. We already documented that.
I don't think it was a mutation, and I don't agree that white people are new on this earth, and I don't agree that white people are aliens. Okay, now the secret to all this mystery is within the ancient god races. The earliest Greek and Roman authors often referred to Hyperboreans and Cimmerians. Some modern authors consider these to be possible references to Celts. Hyperboreans were originally a mythical sacred race who were often associated with the god Apollo. They dwelt at the ends of the earth, the word Hyperborean meaning beyond the north wind, and lived long lives in peace with themselves and their neighbors. Their legends are later intermingled with British, Northern Celtic, and Germanic cultures by ancient authors. The name Cimmerian has many meanings, but to the earliest ancient Greeks, they were a mysterious race who lived in the mist and darkness at the ends of the earth. But later Greek authors clearly described them.
Now, obviously, they're talking about Flamorians. They're talking about the people from Mu. And the people from Mu, allegedly, according to Atlantis, they already had the science. They already had the science.
Movements of a group of people called the Cimmerians. The Cimmerians were Originals, but to the earliest north wind and lived long lives in peace with themselves and their neighbors. Their legends are later intermingled with British, Northern Celtic, and Germanic cultures by ancient authors. The name Cimmerian has many meanings, but to the earliest ancient Greeks, they were a mysterious race who lived in the mist and darkness at the ends of the earth. But later Greek authors clearly described the movements of a group of people called the Cimmerians. The Cimmerians were a race of beings that lived underground. I want to clarify before I go any further that this is going to connect with the nature of our cosmology now. These beings belong to different realms. I don't want anyone getting the idea that I'm trying to imply that any race is superior to the other. Okay? So these Hyperboreans were the ancient Irish or the Tuatha De Danann, and the Cimmerians are the Fomorian race. The Tuatha De Danann were a godlike race of beings with blonde, red hair, blue-green eyes. The Fomorians were a supernatural race of giants that had mastered psychic abilities and had black skin. I have read many different sites that talk about the history of the Moors, and I've only seen a couple that mention the Fomorians. If it does mention the Fomorians, they end the article implying that black people were the original inhabitants of Ireland, which I disagree. The Fomorians were foreigners, Fomorian meaning from far across the sea. Let me put it in this way. The Fomorians were from Lemuria, and I believe them to be a mix of black and Mongolian. The ancient myth of the Tuatha De Danann is an Irish legend of the Fomorians or the Lemurians coming into Hyperborea or Hibernia. This next part might seem bizarre, but just bear with me. Okay, so when we talk about all this stuff, we're talking about a spiritual reality or existence before material reality had materialized. Material reality gets more and more material as we continue to experience this existence that Saturn created for us. But there was a time, believe it or not, when the physical world was not yet built, you could say. Meaning we lived in a dream reality that was co-created with all the gods. Saturn created the physical realm. Now, different planets or different stars create different races. We have one race, which is white, which is Hyperborea, and it's under the sun.
This shit don't even make no sense. I totally don't agree with this. Okay, I don't agree with this part of his information. But like I said, this is his theory. He said in the beginning, which he's wrong on. And I would love to have a conversation with him to chop up this part of the information. I want to get into the history, the mythology, the anthropology, and the archaeology of this particular topic.
Mercury. Then we have Lemuria, that is actually under the sun, Mars. Okay, so I'm going to explain this in a simple way. I promise I'm going to go more in depth later, but basically, these are spiritual realms. The different planets are like their own suns. Also, forget about the time aspect to this for right now. A lot of people think of this as a linear progression when you're talking about Atlantis, Lemuria, Hyperborea. Ask yourself, what is time? Time is different on the spirit realms. So we've all heard of the flat disk cosmology, and I'm sure many of you have heard of the idea that there being inner and outer lands. But look at it this way. When you get to the border of what we call an ice wall, you are really going to...
Now listen, I'm going to break this down here in a minute. I got a build that I'm going to do on this because this is a representation map of what the Mayan calendar represents. We'll get into that. Shout out to my boy You and I for supporting the channel. Shout out to my boy You and I for supporting the channel. He said, just for support, keep the fire on them. I appreciate that, man. Shout out to my boy You and I for supporting the channel and sending in the cash out donation. I appreciate all the support. Make sure y'all show some love to You and I in the chat, y'all, for supporting the channel. For those that hit the like button and enjoying the live stream, make sure you hit the like button, thumb up the video. If you want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information is ticking across the screen. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. So listen, this map that you see on the screen right here is simply the same thing that you see representation of Mayan calendar. Now, if y'all can picture the Mayan calendar, it looks similar to what you see on the screen imagery wise. And if you notice, there's different rings within inside of the Mayan calendar. And what these rings represent, we all know that the Mayan calendar is the calculation and document of dates and time, right? And what you don't understand within the Mayan calendar is that each ring produces and is showing you how time works in different realms or in different zones, in different planes of existence. Each ring operates off a different time. And the Mayans actually went to each and every one of those rings, studied it, documented, and written the Mayan calendar based off of how time works in our realm and other realms as well. So let's continue the live stream.
To the edge of one realm. These realms are in layers, and I believe they can shift and move about. There's obviously not a lot of research when it comes to Lemuria, but one of the main sources is from Helena Blavatsky. Okay, and I know many of you guys don't agree with her works, but I'm just using whatever research we have and whatever is available. So please send me anything that you have that could shed some more light on the subject. But here's from her book, The Secret Doctrine. Quote, the third root race was the first race with physical bodies, and they were described as a black race of three-eyed giants who inhabited the lost continent of Lemuria. It is believed that this continent existed where the Indian and Pacific Oceans now are. Modern theosophists identified Lemuria with the actual ancient supercontinent of Gondwana. Also note how in the legends of the Tuatha De Danann, the King Balor has a superpower with his eye. He has 3 eyes. Balor's eyes proved to be the most powerful tool in battle as it had the power to kill all that it beheld. Okay, if he had 3 eyes, this was a time before we lost our pineal glands, and magic was very real. So hopefully that gives us a little bit of a better understanding, but for the most part, the way you can see this is a half dream, half physical reality. This ancient war took place in Ireland. The invasion of the Fomorians is what we have left of the tale, but let me tell you something interesting. I don't think it was an invasion. I think it was a collaboration. They may have had wars, but somewhere along the line, they mated with one another and exchanged knowledge. Also, remember, these are the god races, not humans like us today. The Tuatha De Danann were giants, and the Fomorians were also of great stature and had 3 eyes. So I speculate that these ancient races procreated and gave us all the different variations that we have today, or what we call races. This is where I want to give my own perspective, and it's from my research that the sciences were already developed in Ireland at this time by the Druids. The myths say that the Fomorians had superpowers, not that they were the originators of civilization. Now, I don't want this to get controversial, but this is where my research has led me. It's very possible that after these events, this knowledge of the Aryans, Hyperboreans had spread out to all races. So with all that info, I want to add to my understanding of the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians is a cover-up name for the mixed melting pot of peoples that descended from the Hyperboreans and the Cimmerians. Quote, the Phoenicians were indeed extraordinarily gifted men. They were one of the first races to devise and employ a sophisticated alphabet, construct great cities and temples, make paper for writing, and sail the seas of the world. The fact is, they were the Arya, or adepts of the highest order. They were the master architects, astrologers, shipwrights, mariners, healers, and scientists. We believe the Phoenicians were, like the Scythians, originally from the West. They preserved the secrets of megalithic construction and many other ancient arts. End quote. I do believe the arts and sciences originate with Ireland. We also hear Pindar speaking of Hyperborea as the source for the Danube. Pindar says they live in a place which cannot be reached by ships nor land, but in Olympian odes. We also have to take into account Druidic poetry. I realize what I'm saying that may come off the wrong way, but if you just bear with me, there is truth behind it. Saying all that, one question you may ask is, well, why did they cover up the Phoenicians? Or you want to ask a better question? Why do the Jews hate black people? If you think that sounds like a wild speculation,
I ain't gonna lie, he doing his hard little best to try to put white people and Arabs and all these people back with niggas. Nobody was here when niggas originally was here, man. I'm just telling you, I don't believe that. 100%. Now, if he can show me some documentation or something to go with that besides this fake mythology, because now we're using science to prove the mythology is real. Now we're using science to prove that these mythology or these stories that we heard that was once classified as myth, right, is actually fact. This is what science is now proving. And this guy is working hard trying to put white people back with niggas. He doing that. I'm sorry, brother Mindunveiled, but that's some corn hub shit. Nigga, wasn't no white people around with us. Fact.
You may ask is, well, why did they cover up the Phoenicians? Or you want to ask a better question? Why do the Jews hate black people? If you think that sounds like a wild speculation, you can read the Talmud for yourself. I can tell you why. If you've watched my other videos, you know about the connection between the Jews and the Phoenicians. The Jews are mad because they are a mixed race. They don't have the pure Hyperborean blood. From David Goldenberg's The Curse of Ham, a professor of the University of Pennsylvania not long ago summed up the view. In its depth of anti-blackness, Rabbinic Judaism viewed blacks as the people devoid of ultimate worth and redeeming social value. Yep, the Greeks are mixed, Sicilians are mixed. All the different breeds of the modern humans come from the original mixtures of these god race beings. Is this possibly where we get all the different
little white girl mixed with something? You know what I'm saying? Probably got about 25% black in them. You know what I'm saying? That's how it happens.
Variations of the human form? I want us to work together and search for the deeper truth. We're never going to find it with hating or thinking that one race is better than the other. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we are all made of spirit. Nothing will change that. Let me finish this off with Timaeus. You can see that we've been side by side for thousands of years. In Timaeus, Solon is white, or probably mixed. And the priest of Egypt is a Moor. This is
the priest of Egypt at the time that Solon came, that Solon was there. Now, Solon allegedly is the grandfather or the great-grandfather of what the fuck is Plato. Now, listen, Solon is the great-grandfather of Plato. Solon got his information from this timeline and this theological science come from Thoth. I've been trying to tell y'all that. This shit came from Thoth. Thoth was a nigga from Texas who went to the place that we call Atlantis to give him the science. That's a fact. So, listen, man, I don't know about this Thoth being mixed now. Everybody else niggas except for Solon.
This is what the priest of Egypt tells Solon for thousands of years. In Timaeus, Solon is white, or probably mixed, and the priest of Egypt is a Moor. This is what the priest of Egypt tells Solon. Quote, "As for those genealogies of yours which you just now recounted to us, Solon, they are no better than tales of children. In the first place, you remember a single deluge only, but there were many previous ones. In the next place, you do not know that there formerly dwelt in your land the fairest and noble race of men which ever lived, and that you and your whole city are descended from a small seed or remnant of them which survived. And this was unknown to you, because for many generations the survivors of that destruction died, leaving no written word. For there was a time, Solon, before the great deluge of all, when the cities which now is Athens was first in war and in every way the best governed of all cities, is said to have performed the noblest deeds, and to have had the fairest constitution of any which tradition tells under the face of heaven." Solon marveled at his words, and earnestly requested the priest to inform him exactly in order about these former citizens. "You are welcome to hear about them, Solon," said the priest, "both for your own sake and for that of your city, and above all, for the sake of the goddess who is the common patron and parent and educator of both our cities. She founded your city 1,000 years before ours, receiving from the earth and Hephaestus the seed of your race, and afterwards she found ours, of which the constitution is recorded in our sacred registers to be 8,000 years old." End quote. The common god was Artemis, but it's actually a much older symbol. The common patron and parent educator may have been the androgynous race that I mentioned in other videos, which were the Hyperboreans. The point of this video is to show you that the ancient god races of the Hyperboreans and the Cimmerians.
About the androgynous races. Nah, nigga, wasn't no trannies running around here running shit around here. Hell nah, wasn't no motherfucking trannies going around here. Hey, shout out to Cassandra Zorn, aka Georgia Peach. Shout out to Georgia Peach. for the Cash App donation. Shout out to Cassandra Zorn, man. Appreciate the Cash App donation. I really appreciate the support. Nah, I want no motherfucking trannies around here.
The common god was Artemis, but it's actually a much older symbol. The common patron and parent educator may have been the androgynous race that I mentioned in other videos, which were the Hyperboreans. The point of this video is to show you that the ancient god races of the Hyperboreans and the Cimmerians must have mixed and created the melting pot of cultures that we see today. This is the reason that Black history has been suppressed, because the Greeks, Jews, Romans are upset that their blood is not pure Hyperborean blood. This is the root of racism, the obsession with a pure bloodline. I hope you found this video valuable. It was not my intention to distort this information, but to try and open up the topic for further research. Let's let go of whatever misplaced judgments we have of one another. All that matters is that we ask questions and become more curious. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps with the big puzzle that we know as Tartaria.
Man, listen, man, that's what I'm trying to explain to y'all now. Like, a lot of this shit ain't what y'all think it is. This is all an illusion. Now, y'all just heard what he said. I want y'all to listen. I hope y'all pay close attention to what the brother just said. Mind unveiled. He putting his best to put it together. Okay, so let's get to the rest of the live stream, man. I don't even want to wait any longer. Let's get right into it, okay? Shout out to everybody in the building. If y'all enjoying the build, hit the like button. If y'all enjoying the live stream, hit the like button. You understand me? I'm being very consistent with this information. I'm trying to give y'all the vivid picture. You know what I mean? Support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. Let's continue.
Which the Constitution is recorded in our sacred registers to be 8,000 years old. Now, in Donnelly's Atlantis, quote, what proof do we have that the Egyptians were a colony from Atlantis? 1. They claim descent from the 12 great gods, which must have meant the 12 gods of Atlantis, to wit, Poseidon and Cleito and their 10 sons. 2. According to the traditions of the Phoenicians, the Egyptians derived their civilization from them. And as the Egyptians far antedated the rise of the Phoenician nations proper, this must have meant that the Egypt derived its civilization from the same country to which the Phoenicians owed their own origin. The Phoenician legends show that Mysore, from whom the Egyptians were descended, was the child of the Phoenician gods Amnias and Magus. Mysore gave birth to Tuat, the god of letters, the inventor of the alphabet, and Tuat became Thoth, the god of history of the Egyptians. Sanchoniathon tells us that the Kronos, king of Atlantis, visited the south and gave all of Egypt to the god Tuat, that it might be his kingdom. Mysore is probably the king Mestor named by Plato. It was common knowledge throughout the 19th century that the Phoenicians were the predecessors to the Egyptians. This has now since changed in academic circles, as they tend to try to hide this Phoenician group as much as possible. The reason being is because the Phoenicians is a cover name for a group of people who descended from the great Hyperboreans and established a priesthood in many of these lands after the flood. We know this in history as the Celtic race. However, the connection between the Celtics and Phoenicians is not discussed in modern academic circles.
And why is that not being discussed, man? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody in the building. We almost got 300 people in the chat. Hey, if we can get each and every one of you guys to share the live stream, we got 272 people in here. Shout out to you guys in the chat. If we can get each and every one of you guys to share it at least once on your social media platforms, we can probably get like 300 people in here right now. Let's try to get 300 people in here on the Wake and Bake Show. This is the Wake and Bake Show. So what city, what state, and what are y'all smoking on this Grand Rising? What city, what state, and what are y'all smoking on this Grand Rising? Shout out to my boy, Big Chief, Fuck You Crackers, for supporting the channel. You know what I'm saying? He said smoking and learning. Shout out to my boy, Big Chief, Fuck You Crackers. He said he's smoking and learning. Shout out to my boy, Joshua Stewart. He said, fire build, man. Shout out to my boy Joshua Stewart for supporting the channel. He said, fire build. I'm glad y'all enjoying the live stream, man. We about to finish turning up. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share the live stream, man. I need everybody to at least share it at least once. Share it at least once. After you share the live stream, come back in and hit the like button if you ain't did that. Soon as you do that, drop a fire emoji in the chat. That let me know that y'all went through the whole process of sharing the like, and sharing the live stream and hitting the like button. So after you do that, hit the like button, man. Drop a fire emoji after you share and hit the like button, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines, all the FBA brothers and sisters in the chat, and drop your city and state where y'all at.
Hands after the flood. We know this in history as the Celtic race. However, the connection between the Celtics and Phoenicians is not discussed in modern academic circles. Therein lies the problem. The Phoenicians, or Phoenicians, were once a great race. This is the mother priesthood called the Church of Iessa that the priest Timaeus is discussing. They came and instructed many of the races after the flood. reestablishing the common traits of civilization. The myths of white red-haired giant mummies are common from around the world. These people were hunted by this new group of rulers as well, for they wanted to destroy the pure bloodline of all races so that they could be the only race of God, creating a new bloodline. This group took over the original priesthood of Ayesa, labeled them pagans, stole their history, and enslaved humanity and all other races. They took over the Bible and began teaching that God can only be reached through the Church of Jesus, when that the old teachings were never about belief and authority, but in a beautiful mythos that connected divinity and man as one, as a moral respect for nature, a duty for taking care of all life and spreading peace through a divine cosmology of self, one that had been passed down for generations through studying the stars carefully and aligning them to attributes of ego and self. This is how astrology, or astrotheology, was passed back into the world after the flood of Atlantis. These Jesuits and the Church of Rome, who really belonged to the Akkadian subrace, not the original Semites, or in other words, Celts. These Akkadians caused war and destruction among the rest of the Aryan nations, specifically starting with the original Semites, and this is where the Phoenicians come in. They then merged all of this history into one history under the discreet and secret name Phoenicians, which really refers to multiple peoples, and they did this through taking over Rome and then the rest of the world. Quote, "The Great Pyramid in its original and dazzling splendor of light under the Egyptian sun was the object of wonderment and awe to all beholders. It surpassed in sublime grandeur any other monument or structure ever erected by man on this globe. It was considered the greatest of the 7 wonders in the ancient world. Its partial destruction and defacement by removing its upper part and capstone, and by stripping it of the outer casing of white stone, which gave it an aspect of dazzling brightness, leaving it in outward appearance bare and nude, silent and mute as to its mission.
I know my boy Big Chief ain't the only one shared the live stream, man. Shout out to my boy Big Chief. Make sure y'all share the live stream. Hit that like button.
Milestone without a figure. This has been a great loss to mankind. In its former glory, it was a mountain of light, a blaze of brightness, a symbol in the desert. It was a testimonial in living stone, bespeaking to mankind of their inheritance of a spiritual kingdom. At noonday, its lofty golden capstone seemed to be at one with the sun, uniting earth and heaven in eternal unity, a symbolic union of spirit and matter. To mar this sublime pillar, this grand masterpiece of the Irish Magian priest of Ayesa was a part of a plot as selfish as any ever conceived. Now another example is Baalbek. That temple was not originally created for Baal, but it is known as that because the Phoenicians took over this land and dedicated ancient Aryan temples to Saturn worship. The original Semites are also known as the Druids or the Irish Magian priests. Now in history, they are known to be the original Druids, the descendants of the Hyperboreans. They re-established high culture after the flood and were known as fair-skinned with red and blonde hair. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't any black people who belonged to this church. There very may well have, as we know now the true history of Ireland, as Fomorians were the original Aborigines before taken over by the Tuatha-De-Danann. Interracial relationship had already begun.
See, he just contradicted himself from what he said in his last video. He said that the original people of Ireland was white people. But then in this conversation, he said that the original people was the Fomorians. The Fomorians was the tall, dark-skinned, the one-eye motherfuckers, the three-eye motherfuckers. So he lied.
Before taken over by the Tuatha-De-Danann. Interracial relationship. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't any black people who belonged to this church. There very may well have, as we know now the true history of Ireland, as Fomorians were the original Aborigines before taken over by the Tuatha-De-Danann. Interracial relationship had already begun, as we can see in the story of Timaeus with the Egyptian priest, and many other myths from around the world such as the Aztecs and China. We even have stories of the Queen of Scotia. Quote, "The story of Scotia begins with a Greek king by the name of Gaithalos. In one version of the story, which involves Ireland, Gaithalos is known as Goadha Glas. The word Gael is said to be derived from his name, and was originally from the region of Scythia. It is also said that Goadha Glas lived during the time of Moses, and the latter is said to have cured the former when he was bitten by a serpent. Goadha Glas was also promised by Moses that no serpent or other poisonous creature would inhabit the western island, that his posterity would inhabit it one day. One of Goadhal Glass's grandsons, Niul, was invited into Egypt as an instructor by a pharaoh, and eventually married one of his daughters, Scotia. Both Scotland and the Roman name for Ireland, Scotia, are said to be derived from her name. Niul and Scotia's people were later derived from Egypt by a later pharaoh, and wandered around the Mediterranean until they reached Spain. Scotia was said to be a white queen with blue eyes from her native land of Scotland.
In the last couple of years, we made Wix websites way faster, achieving dramatic improvements.
Motherfucker just can't get anything off on me, man. I'm gonna tell you, if I catch you in a lie, I'm calling your ass out in that lie. And we should all do the same. He said that the original people of Ireland was the Tahuwana, whatever the fuck he said, right? Which is these white people from the Hyperborean race. You know what I'm saying? But then just now that's what he said in the prior video. But just now he just said that the original Aborigines, the original people, the Aborigines of Ireland are the Flamorians. So he contradicted himself. I just wanted to let y'all know. Shout out to my boy mindunveiled. I fuck with you, gang. But I think you might even did this at a later day. You might have just
Scotia was said to be a white queen with blue eyes from her native land of Scotland. So it's fair to say that Egypt was a quite diverse culture, not to mention that the hieroglyphs have people of many different sizes, but it begins to make us question whether black people came from Africa. In many references, it suggests that the Tolmecs lived in this area first after Atlantis. The Egyptian culture developed into a multicultural center for learning and spiritual development for all races. Plato even came to Egypt supposedly to go through a ritual in the Grand Pyramid. It seems that Egyptologists are happy to distort the history of these lands and slap on dates however they like. They also are hiding evidence from being explored, as many sites are still hidden to the public. The story of Egypt and its timeline is distorted because it is the last remaining power edifice from the last age. Not only did the Phoenicians take control of the spiritual center of the world, they destroyed all conflicted evidence of this root race and all her sub-races. This could be why the leaders still to this day show off these Egyptian artifacts around the world to show who the new true rulers are. Quote, "It was conceived and put into effect by the ruling spirits at the head of the Roman Church and state of their day, who cherished the ambitious and far-reaching idea of nothing less than universal rule for their church and empire. In the course of these pages, I will endeavor to explain and expose the conspiracy and the means by which those designing men who composed it advanced their project. And with the aid of their successors, they, I purpose to show, by persistent effort, brought the greater part of the Western world under their empire and church dominion, and brought this conspiracy to an almost complete success. It was the idea held by the leaders of the Roman Church and state, they were practically one, that all power should be centralized in the head of the church, who was emperor of the state. And any and all religious institutions which in any way conflicted with this ideal were to be done away with. For this reason, the mystery cults were suppressed, and initiation into the ancient or esoteric mysteries were forbidden, so that no religious establishment, worship, or practice would exist which would draw and hold men to it other than the Roman state church. And besides, as the study and preparation necessary for those who were selected for initiation into the higher mysteries was such as to develop a highly philosophic and spiritual state of mind, such study and preparation did not comport with the object which the church rulers had in view. Such minds would not yield adherence to a mere political and idolatrous church, which doctrines were, in the main, intended for the uninstructed multitude. Such minds could not be dominated by a political or mercenary priesthood. They were enlightened men, and they stood in the way of the church project. Therefore, the institutions which produced such men were to be suppressed. Connor McDarry. So now we fast forward to the lie of the Civil War. The plan was to create a new Atlantis, but there were still great civilizations living in the Americas. At this point in time now, the Venetians had conquered.
Now, this is how you get into, this is a whole cover-up from 1812, the start, all the way to 1865, which is the construction or the cover-up, the deconstruction, right? The lie and then the war on our structures and the evidence of a prior civilizations that reached technological and masonry feats. They was way more advanced than what we see today. So listen, man, this is the part of the bill where I need y'all to hit that like button. If y'all enjoy the bill, hit that like button. If y'all want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information is ticking across the bottom of the screen. Make sure y'all support the channel. Drop a fire emoji in the chat and let's turn up.
Civilizations living in the Americas. At this point in time now, the Venetians had conquered California through the Spanish and the northeast of America through the English, but large portions of the Midwest, especially in the Grand Canyon, were still occupied by a great race. Giants were still in America up to just 200, even 100 years ago, and still wouldn't be surprised if some are still remaining. We hear of these stories with like Lovelock Cave and the cannibalistic giants, but there's two theories here. One, that this is a cover-up to hide the great races that were living in America at the time, or two, After the cataclysm of the sun, barbarism began along with tribalism. The great nations began to fall apart, and this is what led to the Venetians taking over large sections.
Hold on, how you just gonna show the Pt2 Indians in California and act like they not still around and shit? Nigga, these Aborigines, man. These are the Pt2 Indians of California. These are California Indians right here, man. He try to skip by that picture quick, boy. It's a classic.
This is what led to the Venetians taking over large sections. But let's continue to the Civil War. And all around the point of 1812 is where this event took place that let the Venetians finally take over America, or terra firma. In the history of almost every American city, something huge happens around this date. The movement of power, a treaty, a war, something, a fire, an earthquake. There was a huge event where the sun again disappeared and there was no summer for a few years. Now, throughout the ages, many cultures have made slaves of other races and or nations. It's happened since Lemuria. It did happen in America at one time during the fall of Atlantis, but the Aryan subraces did not enslave man, for they were noble men. The idea that slaves were brought over to America from Africa starts to become questionable. It wasn't until the 1812 period that the plan to rewrite history of America began through the Jesuit empires of Spain, Britain, and France in order to conquer the last remaining civilizations living in terra firma. They have you believe that black peoples, by the millions, were shipped from Africa to America. Yet, if that were so, we would see well-preserved slave ships. But few are to be found, and their genuineness are to be questioned after learning about this secret history. This name, African American, was offered many times and always rejected by the natives to these lands.
Because there's such a confusion about the people, and that was done deliberately by bringing over a few 100,000 dark people from the Caribbean islands and from possibly
and their genuineness are to be questioned after learning about this secret history.
This
name, African.
Hold on, this nigga just pulled up a video of Himot. This nigga just pulled up a video of Himot, man. Let me run this shit back real quick, man. This nigga just dropped some shit.
So we would see well-preserved slave ships,
but
few are to be found, and their genuineness are to be questioned after learning about this secret history. This name, African American, was offered many times and always rejected by the natives to these lands.
You hear that? The name African American has always been offered but was rejected by the Aborigines every time. They was rejected by the Aborigines every time, according to him. And that's when you get into that, you are Aborigines, but you don't like being called Aborigines. You see what I'm saying? It gets into that whole spiel. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to Dre Cobb Music, man. Dre Cobb Music, man, said appreciate the information. We appreciate you, man. I'm glad y'all enjoying it, man. Shout out to my boy Dre Cobb Music in the chat, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. I know y'all enjoying the live, man. If y'all enjoying it, at least send in a nice little, you know what I mean? Let Big Al know y'all enjoying it, man. We coming with the heat. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Peace and blessings. It's nothing but love. Glad y'all up and rising. And let's listen to this motherfucking shit, man.
After learning about this secret history, this name, African American, was offered many times and always rejected by the natives to these lands.
Because there's such a confusion about the people, and that was done deliberately by bringing over a few 100,000 dark people.
Damn, that nigga brought up Himot. Nigga brought Himot up, y'all.
Because there's such a confusion about the people, and that was done deliberately by bringing over a few 100,000 dark people from the Caribbean islands and from possibly from the continent by way of the Caribbean islands, bringing them here to these lands, creating this facade of everybody coming from the motherland instead of being from here. So there it's created a massive ball of confusion. And this This is not what they wanted to do. They wanted to be able to solidify this, that the Negro and the black man, you're from Africa, accepted a long time ago, but it wasn't accepted. As much as they tried to create it into acceptance through the Pan-Africanism. But so it's about identity. It's strictly about identity. Everything that we experience, black folk, lack of a term, white folk in this country.
Many natives of both North and South America were home to many indigenous black peoples, such as in New York and Mexico, Wisconsin, and San Francisco, Southern California.
Why you going in like that, man? Keep talking, white boy. Now, this the part that I'm agreeing with you on now. You're dropping some shit now. We got to be real. You're dropping some shit now. Let's run that back. He just dropped one for us, man. Let's run that back. Let's run that back.
Both North and South America were
White folk in this country.
Many natives of both North and South America were home to many indigenous black peoples, such as in New York and Mexico, Wisconsin, and San Francisco, Southern California. They were in Mississippi and in Oklahoma. This is a depiction of a black native from terra fire, or like we have mentioned earlier, terra firma, throughout South America. The Caribbean islands were home to the native black peoples. Black people have been on this land far before Christopher Columbus ever stepped foot, if he even existed. We have maps and depictions of Africa with many towns and cities that seem to be castles. I also have shown you sources in the last chapter that most Egyptians were not of pure black Lemurian origin. So why are we fed this lie of Africa? It is to attach the identity of the native peoples of ancient Amu-Rica with a faraway land so that they may be enslaved mentally. This whole process was...
Man, can we get a Becky drop a bomb one time? He going in one good time. Let me run this back. A man going in.
terra firma throughout South America. The Caribbean islands were home to the native black peoples. Black people have been on this land far before Christopher Columbus ever stepped foot, if he even existed. We have maps and depictions of Africa with many towns and cities that seem to be castles. I also have shown you sources in the last chapter that most Egyptians were not of pure black Lemurian origin. So why are we fed this lie of Africa? It is to attach the identity of the native peoples of ancient Amu-Rica with a faraway land so that they may be enslaved mentally. This whole process was about erasing the last age, and these cultures were high civilizations that preserved.
He dropping some shit, man. That's a fact. When you go look at images of Montezuma, right, which is in the 1500s, you see these great monumental structures behind him. If you look on his left and right shoulder, you see the great structures. You see the great structures in the background. When you go look at the emblem of America right here in the background to the left, you see buildings with cannons out of them. So yes, these are great civilizations. America was a Negro continent. He's not lying. Becky drop a motherfucking bomb. You understand me? For real. Shout out to my boy Johnny. Johnny sent the Cash App donation. He said, how do I sign up for the American Gods? All the information to the American Gods pay-per-view is in the description box. I need everybody to realize it's in the description box of this video and of the video yesterday. So if you can't find it in this one, you can simply go to the video yesterday, go to the description box. All the information is there. All the information you need to purchase the pay-per-view is in the description box, y'all, man. So make sure y'all support the American Guys pay-per-view this up and coming Sunday, August the 7th. Make sure y'all support the channel. 8 o'clock Eastern PM. 8 o'clock Eastern PM. August 7th, this Sunday, the pay-per-view, American Guys, Aboriginal Power, Atancha in this one, Jaguar Omega, and we also have a special guest, man. Let's continue this fire-ass live.
Of Africa. It is to attach the identity of the native peoples of ancient Amu-Rica with a faraway land so that they may be enslaved mentally. This whole process was about erasing the last age, and these cultures were high civilizations that preserved the knowledge of the ages before. Therefore, the rulers that be forced the Spanish, English, and French nations to conquer these lands at all cost. They were funded by the same...
Now look at these structures right here in the background. This is supposedly America, South America. Look at these structures in the background. Fuck all that imagery. I want to know what they depicting the city to look like, nigga. My mama, nothing but buildings.
French nations to conquer these lands at all costs. They were funded by the same hidden hand. The first new global corporation, also known in history as the East Indian Trading Company, the first global national corporation. Now remember, the Phoenicians, or as we now know the Akkadians, added 1,000 years to the calendar. So these two histories are interlinked, and
the Phoenicians, which is the Arcadians, and the Arcadians is the Great Canada Empire, or the Akkadian Empire, which is in Canada. Why you think the French, the British, all these fake Europeans, which is who they constructed and made up, coming through Canada? Because that's where they originate from. Facts.
Can think of this time as the new takeover of the old Aryan world. To get ready for the next coming root race, they needed to wipe out our sense of identity, our connection with our ancestors. There's a really interesting post on Stolen History that talks about how slave houses in the South were actually owned by the Cherokee, the people who got expelled from Rome after it was conquered.
Slave houses owned by Cherokee. Well, who built it? Did the Cherokee build these great monumental structures and these mansions? See, now you're getting into some shit. Now you just got to call them Aborigines at this point. I'm my mama.
Really interesting post on Stolen History that talks about how slave houses in the South were actually owned by the Cherokee, the people who got expelled from Rome after it was conquered by the Phoenicians. Quote, Cherokee, who were living in Western-style houses, the Cherokee were living inside of antebellum mansions before settlers turned them into plantations. The antebellum mansions look like Roman palatial estates and are covered in pagan symbols and have people who got expelled from Rome after it was conquered by the Phoenicians. Quote,
he going in, man. There's some shit, man. I need y'all to hit that like button. Thumb up the video. Shout out to my Cherokees out there. Y'all didn't live in teepees. I've been telling y'all this. Y'all want run around in naked clothes and skin and moccasins and shit. That's a lie. Y'all niggas was immaculately dressed. Go look at all photos of all Negroes as far as you can find. They immaculately dressed. You Indians, you Aboriginals, y'all didn't live in teepees. Y'all was not rock slappers hugging trees and shit. Y'all was master builders. Listen.
Rome after it was conquered by the Phoenicians. Quote, Cherokee, who were living in Western-style houses, the Cherokee were living inside of antebellum mansions before settlers turned them into plantations. The antebellum mansions look like Roman palatial estates and are covered in pagan symbols and have pagan murals inside of them. Truth is, they've been hiding the real history of North America for centuries, and only the wisest see through the lies. Quote, all roads lead to Rome, Georgia. It is called Rome because that is what the Cherokee called their land.
Rome, Georgia. Now, this is where ancient Rome talks about. It's called All Roads Lead to Rome, Georgia. Talk that shit, man. You going to fuck in.
For centuries, and only the wisest see through the lies. Quote, all roads lead to Rome, Georgia. It is called Rome because that is what the Cherokee called their land. To their dying breath, they claimed to be from Rome and were Romans. They were expelled from their land and lost their property in the 1830s. This is what we're told in the schools, that the North attacked the South and over 600,000 people died over fighting for slavery. If we were to look further, we may find that some things don't add up completely. For one, the star forts. They want you to believe that around 150 forts were created basically in the 19th century. And trust me, I've been to one of these. These things look old. We have a video on star forts, but basically, the idea is that they put cannons on these bastion forts as naval strategy for enemy ships. This idea that cannons can shoot ships from miles away from iron balls skipping on the water has yet to be proven and seems like a complete cover-up. Also, in our star fort video, we show evidence of pumps and underground buried sections. And even when you read the official narrative, there's always something that happened that ended in complete destruction of these forts. I'm sure that these forts were used by the British, Spanish, and French, but they did not build them. These arches are quite advanced, and we can find similar star forts from around the world.
The drip plugin instantly turns your rough melody ideas from this into this.
Shit. I ain't gonna lie, my man's dropping some shit, man. We got 300 people in the chat. Can I get y'all to hit the like button? Let's get 300 likes in the building. Peace and love to all the American Aborigines, American Indians, and you FBA brothers and sisters. You niggas ain't just rock slappers, man. Y'all come from great people that built great structures that was taken over. You understand me? Shout out to all the real ones in here, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Can I get y'all to drop some fire emojis in the chat? And can I get y'all to support the channel? Link to the Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. We can continue this live stream. Let's go.
We show evidence of pumps and underground buried sections. And even when you read the official narrative, there's always something that happened that ended in complete destruction of these forts. I'm sure that these forts were used by the British, Spanish, and French, but they did not build them. These arches are quite advanced, and we can find similar star forts from around the world. There were great nations already existing in America, such as the ones described in the Book of Mormon, and what we know today as Tartaria and Moorish cultures. They want you to think that an empire or corporation was built off of slavery, and the South was just not willing to give that up. The last remaining peoples in these lands belonged to the Aryan epoch. The Jesuits, through Britain, Spain, and Rome, began enslaving all of these remaining races in America during the 1800s. They made up the lie of the Civil War in order to make you believe that they fought for Black people's freedoms, when really, this is a falsity constructed to enslave all the remaining races. The original Semites, almost all of them that remained in America, were completely wiped out. Remember, these were the original Druids or Celts that were sent out of Rome after its destruction. The Black people who were left in America posed a problem to these invading Jesuit nations because there were still many left, as this was their homeland, and as we know from the secret history and the legend of Calafia. The original Semites who traveled to America, or the Celts in America, were foreign travelers who were trying to escape this Akkadian Jesuit takeover. So where do we get this history of Black slavery? Well, during the 1800 to 1812 period, the plan to create this illusion that Black people came from Africa began. John Lynch, who was known for colonizing cities in America and naming it after himself, such as Lynchburg, Virginia, supposedly he immigrated from Ireland to Virginia and then somehow prospered. Now, John Lynch sent a letter stating a plan for civilizing these new Africans on the coast of Africa, and his plan was to populate it with Blacks from America. Quote, that the benevolent society now established in England for the purpose of civilizing the Africans was set on foot by Granville Sharp, one of its active members, and he was stimulated thereto by a letter wrote by William Dillwyn a considerable time back requesting him to suggest a plan of such a society forming a colony for the purpose eventually of promoting the civilization of the Africans and receive subjects for such a colony from this country. Lynch's letter was inspired, sponsored, and altered from a woman named Anne Mifflin, a Quaker from Philadelphia. She was a part of one of these English groups colonizing in America as one of the many denominations of the Christian faith. They had struck treaties, or in other words, paid off or forced the indigenous leaders to give up their lands. The history books don't teach about these remaining empires in America during the 18th century. This plan was really a plan to wipe out the remaining threat of Aborigines and to create a false identity by shipping many Blacks to Africa to create this society off the coast of Africa.
I get everybody hit that like button. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button.
Plan was really a plan for indigenous leaders to give up their lands. The history books don't teach about these remaining empires in America during the 18th century. This plan was really a plan to wipe out the remaining threat of Aborigines and to create a false identity by shipping many Blacks to Africa to create this society off the coast of Africa. They wanted to...
Damn, he going in low key right here. I gotta run that back right quick. He literally going in a little bit. Hit that like button, man. I ain't gonna lie, he just snapped real quick. He back on
the indigenous leaders to give up their lands. The history books don't teach about these remaining empires in America during the 18th century. This plan was really a plan to wipe out the remaining threat of Aborigines and to create a false identity by shipping many blacks to Africa to create this society off the coast of Africa. They wanted to civilize these blacks or brainwash them into thinking like the Akkadian or mainstream history Phoenician brain. They transformed all the races into this reptilian survival and taught the worship of an exterior god. We became focused around property and materialism, and we lost our spiritual ways. All of the subraces of this epoch, not just black peoples, we are still in the Aryan epoch, and these Phoenician Akkadian leaders are still in control and have fed us the lie of history as we know it, academia. Anne Mifflin met in Lynchburg and made a plan with other invaders on plans to remove and suppress the black peoples of those colonies. They seemed to be having problems and they needed to stop it immediately for good this time. September 1810. Anne spoke with James Wood on shipping recently freed slaves from the South, or the new generation that had been trained to believe in a false history, were to relocate to an island named Bolama on the coast of West Africa. This plan was the beginning of the African American enslavement training. James Wood endorsed the plan. The many abolitionists who developed during this period were said to be against slavery, but this is just a setup. These people are the ones that enslaved them in the first place. It's like philanthropy. They wanted to make themselves seem like the redeemers, when all they did was completely brainwash and replace the sense of self with a foreign entity.
Goddamn commercials, boy. These commercials ain't the shit. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Can I get y'all to share the live stream at least one time? Shout out to all the American Aborigines, man. Can I get y'all to share the live stream at least one time? If y'all want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen ticking across, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, y'all.
They wanted to make themselves seem like the redeemers, when all they did was completely brainwash and replace the sense of self with a foreign entity. The enslavement did happen, but it was simply a brainwashing process on the homeland. One of these abolitionists was Granville Sharp. He gave the illusion that he wanted to end the slave trade when he had part in creating it. Also, key to note that it is very possible that black people were moved around, such as from the Caribbean islands and maybe even a few from Africa. But the story that by the millions they came from Africa is extremely questionable. He took part with Anne Mifflin in creating the Sierra Leone Company, which is now the modern-day name for this area of Bolama. The Aborigines of these Lemurian Atlantean lands, now known today as America, were made slaves when the invading colonials arrived. These colonials themselves were brainwashed by the ruling church at that time. At this time, many of the people may have disagreed with what was going on, but through the funding of the church, manifesting as Spain, Britain, and France, these colonials devised a plan of entering terra firma and conquering the rest of the Americas. Spain knew of these lands before Columbus. That was the point of bringing up Calafia at the beginning. The Amethyst of Gaul legends go back to the 15th century or even earlier, supposedly. Thomas Jefferson did reply to this plan by Anne Mifflin and said that this would be the most desirable measure in which could be adopted for gradually drawing off the black population. He endorsed it and thought that it should be the highest priority for the United States to make an establishment off the coast of Africa. This plan was well received by the rest of these forming new colonies in America, and the plan began to remove and indoctrinate the remaining population of the Aborigines of this land. These abolitionists from the North did not care about black people at all, and that's another reason to consider why the Civil War is simply a farce. Common for his times, Jefferson believed blacks were inherently inferior to whites and thought it was best the two races remained segregated. Now remember, all these groups, the Spanish, the English, and the French, all spawned from this original Phoenician, Akkadian, Canaanites, worshippers of Baal, and yes, they were extremely racist towards all colored races. However, that wasn't always the case, for these are not the true representation of white peoples. The Akkadians took over what was left of the original Semites, or original Druids, and these people did not judge on the basis of skin, as we hear in the story of Timaeus with the priests, as we hear in the legends of Quetzalcoatl and Cuculcan, which has a similarity to the Irish deity Cuchulainn. I say that because it is time that we drop this idea that the colors are superior to another or even the idea that we should forever remember that we were once victims. In the Atlantis epoch, the Fomorians dominated over many lands and enslaved many different races, including whites. It has happened between different races of similar colors. This is simply the evil of mankind. But there was a golden age of Atlantis to another, or even the idea that we should forever remember that we were once victims. In the Atlantis epoch, the Fomorians dominated over many lands and enslaved many different races, including whites. It has happened between different races of similar colors. This is simply the evil of mankind. But there was a golden age of Atlantis, where different races found peace, and the only pursuit was of the mind and spiritual intellect. It was the passion of almost all her people, red, yellow, black, and white. So the only way to find a solution is to see the problem clearly. Identity crisis. Even beyond the colors of our skin, many of us were given false histories, and our homelands were forgotten. But on a greater scale, our spiritual identities were lost. A new age began where we forgot about our own structures and architecture in the very cities that we now currently all share in America.
No offense, mindunveiled, but who the fuck is we? Who the fuck is we?
It has happened between different races of similar colors. This is simply the evil of mankind. But there was a golden age of Atlantis, where different races found peace, and the only pursuit was of the mind and spiritual intellect. It was the passion of almost all her people, red, yellow, black, and white. So the only way to find a solution is to see the problem clearly. Identity crisis. Even beyond the colors of our skin, many of us were given false histories, and our homelands were forgotten. But on a greater scale, our spiritual identities were lost. A new age began where we forgot about our own structures and architecture and the very...
Yeah, you got us messed up. Ain't no motherfucking we, us, ours, us. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no we's, ours, us. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what's going on right now.
These cities that we now currently all share in America. The colonials did not build these cities. The groundwork for all major cities was built upon an existing civilization. That is the secret that has been kept from our education, in order to enslave mankind under an exterior god, the god of materialism and death, Saturn.
I'm gonna end this live stream right here. Look at this structure right here. Damn, we're gonna end it right here just talking about that. Look, that's a whole nother building like this up under here. They done dug this bitch out the mud. They literally try to bury us. They try to bury our history. And let me leave this implanted into y'all brains, man. They try to bury us in the dirt, not knowing that we were seeds. And look how much growth and information we have accumulated within such a short period of time. They try to bury us in the dirt, not knowing that we were seeds. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. That's the end of this live stream. Shout out to everybody. I might even drop the link in the chat and let a few people come on just to add on the extension to this build. If y'all want to hit on the link and come on in, y'all more than welcome to. Y'all can hit the link and that's in the chat right now. Hit the link. The link is in the chat. But look at these structures on the screen, man. Like, that's the whole shit covered up. Come on, man. The Aborigines, man, the Jesuits. This is the Phoenician cover-up, the rewriters. They're trying to bury our history. The Civil War was never to help black people. It was not no war. This was an attack on our structure and to bury and to keep the information of this prior civilization suppressed. Facts. Shout out to all the American Aborigines that's in the building, man. We got 300 people in here. Let's try to get 400 people in here. Can we get 400 people in here? The only way we're going to be able to get 400 people, we're going to need each and every one of you guys in the chat, all 300 of you guys, to drop the hit the link and share the live stream. I'm going to need y'all to hit the link and share the live stream. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. The link is in the chat. I'm going to drop it once again. We got my boy Knowledge the Most on here. We're going to be getting everybody on the panel, man. Shout out to everybody that's on here, man. Shout out to everybody that's on here. Shout out to my boy Knowledge. What's going on with it, man?
Peace, bro. Peace to the chat. Make sure you look. Y'all share this shit to your Facebook groups, the woke groups, all of the whatever groups you get you know what I mean. You see on your joint. Don't just share it to your page. Go into the groups where people with similar concepts of research. You know what I mean. Where they meet up at.
I mean, you sound like Leaf Ward, man. What's going on with it, my boy Knowledge?
What's that? I don't even know who that is.
Man, it's a Philly rapper, man. You should listen to him. Y'all niggas sound just alike. Goddamn.
Okay. Yeah, I just hit the link because look, when it comes to these structures and like that's how I found mindunveiled channel is researching Star Force shit. So like when you see these structures and they dig in 40, 50 feet into the ground and it's still more building with doors and windows and shit, like we dealing with something that
when you get into Fort Jefferson's in Florida, for instance, that is almost 6 million bricks to build that particular fort, and it's in the water. You see what I'm saying? Like, who does this in the 1800s when you got wooden wagons and buggies? Your president born in a stick cabin, but you got these concrete brick structures in the middle of the water. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. This lets me know this is definitely evidence of a prior civilization, that they're suppressing the information. They're hiding the information. You understand me? And a lot of these remaining structures they take control of, like the Morgansons and the Vanderbilts, and they come and take these places and reconvert them. They turn them to wineries, they turn them to masonry halls, they turn them to your municipal buildings, your federal halls, and these and all other sorts of things, man.
And act like they people built them.
Yeah, they act like they people building. Established in 1839, established founded in 1860. You know what I'm saying? So, and they literally found it at that time. You see what I'm saying? They found it. It was some shit that was left here that was probably at ruin at some point in time before they found it due to the Madrid earthquake that happened. So if niggas not familiar with the Madrid earthquake, they need to get definitely familiar with that. Man, shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got my boy Knowledge on the building. Hey, the link is in the chat, y'all. Make sure y'all hit the link. Make sure y'all support the channel. I want to give a special shout out to my boy Kill Wannis, the Aborigine. Shout out to Kill Wannis, the Aborigine, for supporting the channel, man. Sending in the cash out donation. I want to say peace and blessings. Make sure y'all show some love to my brother Kill Wannis in the chat, man. Y'all got any questions in the chat, man? What's going on with it? Do y'all have any questions in the chat? Do y'all have any questions in the chat, man? What's going on with it now? You want to bring some heat to some of this that we seen?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So when it comes to those structures, like how they got it, how they be digging that up, like they got so many places throughout North America that the history of the city goes into, like some of these places like Chicago even been said to raise the whole town up one floor. You know what I mean? So like the first floor really like the second floor type shit.
Root, turn that camera on, gang. No, I'm just fucking with you. Shout out to my boy Root Words on the panel, man. Peace and blessings to you. Hey, listen, hey, brother Knowledge, you right about them structures though, but it's so much that to unpack and to start peeling back the layers in this video. He kind of stuck it in and had a methodical flow, but it was a lot of information that he went with. Not just the whole covering up and who the people are that prior civilization, but even getting into the whole cover up or the unforgotten cause of the Civil War, which is very interesting to me, the way mainstream history illustrated the Proclamation of Emancipation, the freeing the slaves, and blah, which is all fake. This is all artificial insert to get you to confuse on the enslavement that's starting to take place after 1865. You see what I'm saying? It's the illusion. What's going on, brother Root Words? You with us? His mic might be fucking up. Get off and come back on then.
Yeah. And it's crazy how they connected them timelines. Like 1 second he talking about ancient Lemurians, now he talking about 18 something. And I'm like, okay, so 18 something, you showing us pictures, you clearly know there was is tribes here, families and copper colored tribes. So how he connected ancient Lemuria, and then all of a sudden now we dealing with tribes, but you talking about the Lemurians is the ones conquering these tribes in the 1800s, and that don't make no sense. What he calling them Lemurians is must be a over another type of name.
Did your tribes live in the woods? Did your tribe live in the woods or the cities?
Probably everywhere.
It take you that long to answer? It take you that long to answer, sir?
Root words, we on peace, Root. We on peace, Root. We being
I'm
peaceful.
not being an asshole, Ab Power. He's just saying that the Lemurians and people that was here, that dude was showing that was great and doing great stuff. He's saying that we ain't them people. We some tribe-ass Indians from the woods. That's why I asked him that, sir.
That ain't what I'm saying, brother.
I asked you a simple
That
question.
is not
Do
what
we
I'm
come from
saying.
those great cities? I'm just asking you a simple question, brother.
Man,
do
our
the
peoples
Indians
come
you
from
talking
great
about and the tribe
cities
you talking
and the
about,
woods.
do they come from the great cities? Do they come from the great cities, sir, or is y'all from the woods? Which one is it?
They come from the cities and the woods and the wilderness. They built cities in the woods.
So
where you going with it?
Saying there was people living out in the woods.
You breaking
Hold
up.
Breaking up. Hold on.
You breaking up, Root. Root words.
That's my aura blocking that bullshit.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all thumb up the video, man. Make sure y'all thumb up the video. Support the channel, man. I want to say shout out to Rodney O. Lewis for supporting the channel. Shout out to Rodney O. Lewis. He said, I appreciate you. Keep it up. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. I want to say appreciate my boy Rodney Lewis, man. I appreciate the cash out donation, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Shout out to my boy Leonardo, aka Big Dog Philly OG. He said, peace, my brother. Shout out to my boy Big Dog Philly OG. And speaking of, we got him on the panel. Shout out to you. Peace and blessings, brother.
Grand Rising, everybody. Much love, much respect. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. What's going on, Big Bro Root Words? You can ask me anything. I'd rather the questions be directed towards. I'd rather all the questions be directed towards me, Root Words, just for viewers' sake. Go ahead, Root. You got the flow, gangster. You got the flow, gangster. Go ahead, Root.
Oh no, I was just saying sometimes I get a little weird defensive, like when the Moors say, "Oh, we the Muslims from Arabia and all this shit." I'll be like, "Hold on, man." And then when like certain indigenous or Aboriginal or Moorish Americans will say, "Well, we was from tribes and shit." You know, that's sort of saying that we wasn't really great people. That's saying we was around a TP or bowing down to some Muslims and shit. It ain't saying like what this Billy's saying that we had great structures and the last of an empire. But I digress.
Yeah, I just wanted
okay,
to
so
touch
yeah, maybe
base.
it was came off. Okay, what up, Philly?
Yeah, real quick. How the bull said, you know, all this took place after the Civil War. That they lied about the Civil War, and all this change took place after the Civil War. That's what I keyed in on when he said that. Go ahead, y'all got it.
Ooh, we Philly facts.
Yeah, that's some heat though. Go ahead, brother. Knowledge. Maybe you want to reiterate and elaborate on what you were saying, just in case there was any confusion with anyone listening in.
Yeah, but see, what Philly's saying is kind of where I was going with it, based on the timelines. Like, cause he's like, 1 second dude was talking about ancient Lemurians conquering shit, and then now he talking about 100 years ago. He talking about some shit that we, you know what I mean, we got recorded in books and shit. Like we just saw this shit happening, but he just came from talking about some ancient god races that conquered and created these races and shit. But now we in the 1800s. We talking about the Civil War, which wasn't that long ago. So that's what I was pointing out on the timeline as well. And yeah,
Hey, do
like
you
you
think
know,
that
and
Civil War?
by saying tribes, I wasn't really like, you know what I mean, downgrading. I think that's one of the misconceptions about that word, how they even use the word tribe to make it seem like we not families and shit, like we on some like we out here like gangs in the woods and shit. Nah, like it was tons of great civilizations here, and many of them still covered up. They still here.
Right, right. And I think when as we get in more intuitive with this conversation and the information, we can use different terms of knowledge to describe, because most tribes is a separate term, right? Tribe is a separate term. Clan separates. If different tribes, a tribe is a separative word in its origin. The word nation, the word empire is a collective in its origin. It's a collective in its origin. So we like to use terms like that so we won't leave out other tribes that maybe has fallen and or some that hasn't been resurrected yet. You see what I'm saying? So we want to include everything when we talking about Aboriginals, because there's so much to engulf and there's so much to uncover. You see what I'm saying? So I guess I see what everybody's saying. So let's try to use the word nation. Let's try to use the word empire. You know what I'm saying? Because it engulfs not just one tribe or one clan. It engulfs all in the area that proceeds to build what we call the empire for that general area. You see what I'm saying? And
That
that's where
tribe shit come from Africa, man. That Igbo and all that tribe shit come from Africa, man. We wasn't tribal people over here, man.
Yeah, we was nation people. We was empire
and
people.
We wasn't no Muslim Moors. And we wasn't no Muslims bound down to no religion stuff over here neither. That's just all that stuff. People be having little weird, or people might not understand the semantics in that shit. When you say you from a tribe, like you said, that's some divisive shit. When you say you a Moor, like what you saying, you come from Africa, bro, unless you say I'm Aboriginal to America. So a lot of people, I just be trying to get it straight though, but people be getting mad at that shit though. But I digress, man.
It's all good, Root. I appreciate you coming on with that heat, man. Let me turn my camera on too, man. We turn our cameras on today. Everybody put their camera on. Look at Rudy Root. Boy, what's up with it, Rudy Root? My nigga Big Dog Philly OG, man. I'm gonna get with you too. I need you to give me your number too. I got an opposition for you that I think you could capitalize off of to help your brand and everything else that I want to work with you with. It's just something I thought of traveling back the other day. I was like, man, I want to get with Big Dog OG. Got an idea I want to kick with him, and then we can really put out immediately, start this year. And it'll probably be a big thing going into the summer next year. So I'll get with you on the matter of fact.
I'll put my number in the back chat.
Yeah, do that. And I'm gonna text you right now. But yeah, man, that's what it's about, man. It's about building in our community, man. I like for these builds not to be negative. I like for each and every one to take a piggyback approach to the information. You drop something, the next person add on to that, the next person add on to that, and the next thing you know, we got a fucking classic build we just put on just by a casual conversation and bringing our information and research to the table together. You know what I'm saying? Fixing the people something to eat and it's easy for them to digest. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I really look forward to these builds, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. So anybody want to start, man? Y'all got the flow right quick. I'm gonna step away for a second, go get me some coffee. Go ahead, y'all got the flow.
Yeah, I just want to shout the people out. Much love to the people, man. Grand Rising, man. We're building and we supporting each other, you know, and that's the most important thing, you know what I mean? Because we've been so divided, you know, and the truth is coming out and the people are waking up to the truth. You know what I mean? Shout out to each and every one of y'all, man. We growing.
The truth. Shout out to you, Philly OG. Shout out to everybody that took the time to, you know, even click the link. I tried to share it to a few different groups. And one thing about sharing to the groups is a lot of different people got the chance to see it. But even if it's a small group, if they got administrators that got to okay the video, then at least the administrator gonna watch it. So it's just like, you know what I mean? It might be something that they had never seen. It might be something they want to start looking at to put, you know what I mean, to share more on their channels.
Right. We got to start supporting and sharing all the platforms. So if y'all got something going on the Big Al, y'all don't even charge for advertisement on my platform. You see what I'm saying? If y'all got something going on, I love to support what y'all got going on. And I shops too. I shops. You know what I'm saying? I love to get Aboriginal shit, man. But yeah, man, back to this bill, man. Like let's break it down. The Cherokees built Roman-styled antebellum slave houses before they were slave houses. Can we talk about that, man? That's some marvelous shit right there, man. Like on top of platforms and shit. Like the Cherokee didn't slap rocks and hug trees and build little sheepskin tents and shit. Like, come on, man. They built antebellum style houses, man. The shit that you see in Atlanta today. You ride by them little country
That's
towns.
crazy when you said that. When you say antebellum, like this is right there. When you say antebellum, let me make sure you point at it. Only thing you can say antebellum is when it got a chimney on it. Because antebellum means before electricity and before all that technology was come. So all these, when you say antebellum, go ahead, mama. Go ahead, mama. Hey, go ahead, mama. I'm on. Go ahead somewhere though, mama. Okay, go up there.
Hey, nigga, don't be talking to your mama like that root word.
No, that was just somebody walking by. That's a beautiful lady walking by. I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is.
That nigga root words.
But when you see all buildings with them chimneys right there, that means that it's from antebellum time when it was a different technology would heat up your house and electrify your house. That's why we got all the tunnels and everything underground, because we had a different type of technology. And just when you see antebellum, it got to have a chimney on it.
I want to add on to that root words, because in the conversation they said that these was built before antebellum, and then the invaders used these houses as what they called slave houses during the antebellum time era. That these are not actually antebellum houses. Technically, they're Aboriginal ancient structure style homes that was turned into antebellum style houses. So this is ancient, way more ancient than antebellum. This goes back into Roman style kvekas. You see what I'm saying? This is some shit like King Andronicus would have lived in. Y'all seen that statue in Rome, King Andronicus? That's what they called him. Listen, he would have lived in some shit like that, accordingly, allegedly. You see what I'm saying? This is in America, in the South, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. Alabama is ancient Mesopotamia.
And when y'all see a lot of y'all's projects,
yeah, go ahead.
You could tell by a so-called, I don't know, I'm not gonna say antebellum, but you could tell it was ancient technology with the chimney. And most of these buildings around here, I'm not gonna say all of them, they remodeled a lot of them, but you could tell a lot of these buildings around here are somewhat, I can't say ancient, but have a older technology before 1915.
Right.
Because 1950, when they start making technology where you could start putting electricity in there, when you start putting pipe heating and ventilation.
Do you believe that they had
these old buildings didn't have that?
Real words. I don't even think that's what it was for. You feel what I'm saying? I think them chimneys was releasing something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was something else going on with them chimneys that they used for Santa Claus, because I believe that we had electricity going back goddamn 3,000 years ago.
Pre-1400.
Matter of fact, you in Ohio, root words, you in the Hopewell community. This is where the apartment style complexes changed, and I believe that they already had hot and cold running water through them. You see what I'm saying? What make you think that they didn't have electricity through them? Most of these houses had an antenna on them too. What was these antennas for?
Yes, and that one picture that you had that when mindunveiled was going through some of the pictures, the little illustrations, and the brother had the structures behind them. On those structures, there was antennas and like cathedrals, like, and those pictures, I imagine those were what, 1500s.
Yeah, those photos is of Montezuma. Let's look at one of those. This is of Montezuma in the 1500s. National Archives, Smithsonian Records, all that. Okay.
You see the design structures with the little cathedral, the dome cap, like the Washington building.
It got an antenna on the top of it. You're absolutely right. Let's talk about it. What is that antenna for? Is that for atmospheric electricity? Not typical or what we call AC or DC. alternate and direct current. What is this? This could be used for atmospheric electricity. You see what I'm saying? This could be some advanced form of technology. You see what I'm saying? We just know that they was great. They whoever these civilizations from that we descend from had already measured and was at a peak of their technological advances. We're just now growing. We're still elevating. They was at a peak when they had a reset. You see what I'm saying? So who knows what that shit was used for, man? That shit is dope. That shit is dope. Yeah, that's Montezuma. Look at them buildings in the background. Even when you look at the emblem of America, right? If y'all can make y'all screen enlarge, you can see the buildings on the left. You see cannons in the back of them. If you look at the left, right above the man with the umbrella, right, you can see the cannons in the buildings in the background. Unbelievable. You see what I'm saying?
Now, let me just throw this question at you. Is it possible that those cannons could be like pipes that allow like water or pressure out and in?
It could be, but these are ancient forts. They tell you that the forts been here most of the time. These ancient forts are all around with these same styles, and most of them already had cannons. So when you look at the Civil War pictures, right, and you see all these cannonballs and these cannon barrels landing stacks, these is from the destructed buildings that you see that's destroyed. They done collected the cannons and the cannonballs within the buildings. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you literally looking at when you look at a lot of this imagery. You see what I'm saying? And this is New York, by the way. This is what they call Amsterdam in the 1500s, y'all. This is New York, this photo right here.
And they called that Amsterdam.
Yes, absolutely. And off of that same system, when they told you that they took the indigenous people here and was taking them overseas to Europe and Africa and to indoctrinate them, they was taking them to places like York, right? And they called York New Amsterdam now, and they called them people there that elevated and started the process of agriculture, Black of Moors, or the Rokende, or the Smoking Moor, the Smoking American. You see what I'm saying? That's the Rokende. You see what I'm saying?
So just thinking about the word Amsterdam, I just think of the back part of it where it's like Star Dam, and like even the Statue of Liberty is built on a star fort, old star fort, and all the star forts are always near water or somewhere they previously was near water.
Let me highlight this photo one more time.
A star dam. Kind of far, it just made me think of Star Fort. Go ahead, bro.
Before they dammed up the areas in that place where the Statue of Liberty is, there was no water, there was land there, there was structures there. There's structures under that water. As a matter of fact, this photo right here is exactly where the Statue of Liberty is today. And this imagery is the global imagery to remember the lady that you see on top of the neck of the nation that try to pillage them. So the Statue of Liberty is the metaphorical version of the emblem of America. This is what you see right here: a lady with the cornucopia crown around her head, and obviously slaying the beast. This is what the Statue of Liberty is. When you look at this imagery, you can see the copywritten or the plagiarism that they did within the Statue of Liberty. It's in the same spot. This is in New York, by the way, this photo. Shout out to my brother Hawk School on the panel, man. What's up, big Hawk?
Yo, peace to the tribes. What's going on? Peace, peace, peace.
Man, you already know. Peace and blessings, man. How you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm just glad to be here, brother. You know the drill.
Man,
I see you dropping jewels over here.
Man, we dropping heat, man. Ain't no, hey, we rocking. You feel what I'm saying? We rocking. And we got
as you should be.
So I know you about to come with it, man. I know you about to come with it. So yeah, man.
Man, I actually found I found this book that I read recently, and it's got a whole bunch of shit in it. You know, we're gonna deal with some of the same type of shit you talking about, this Atlantis type of shit. But I found this book, man. It's got so much shit. It's talking about it's showing and proving how they was going from tribe to tribe and stealing our our secret sauce. You know what I'm saying? I found the book. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna drop it, and they just going from each tribe, and it's laid down. The dude that wrote the book, he hella racist, but it's still dropping jewels. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't. Let me see if I can find I can't recall the name of the book. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can.
Oh shit. Boy, this goddamn asteroid smoking, boy. I ain't even lying to you. Shout out to my boy Asteroids in the chat, man. Got the best smoke in the nation, man. Make sure y'all go shop with my boy, man. Asteroid.company, man. Make sure y'all go shop with him, hit him up on Instagram, all that good shit. It's my boy. Hey, man, shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got 316 in here, man. Can we get 400 people in the chat? You know what I mean? Can we get 400 in here, man? I just need y'all to share it at least one time on Instagram, one time on Twitter, one time on TikTok. We lit. You understand me? Put the link in that motherfucker. Shout out to everybody in here, man. It's a proud day to be an Aborigine, man. So shout out to all the Aborigines. Shout out to the FBA brothers and sisters that's coming into the information as well, man. Peace and blessings to you guys as well, man. Hey, man, so listen. These structures that they talking about, the science that they talking about, but see, they not telling you the story. They making it seem like this whole fight in the nation. Listen, the nation was coming to grips because of certain other nations allowing foreigners to be in political and high seating. This is why the ancient shit happened, man. So when we get into the story of Atlantis, when you get into the story of Atlantis, this is told only by a few surviving people. You feel what I'm saying? Or nations that made it. So when you get into the story of Atlantis, it talks about the whole world getting in a flood, which goes back to first of all, let me just break this down. The Noah story that you hear in the Bible is the Atlantis story, just told from somebody else and their perception. It's the same story. Okay, so when you listening to the story of Atlantis, man, you got a group of people who going from one place to another by force due to a cataclysm, and they brought the remaining able abilities of the science that they was able to keep. You see what I'm saying? And so when they get into certain frequencies, they talking about nations that lasted for 900 years, 1,000 years. It's so much symbolism when they talking about the stories, because we got to give Atlantis thrive for down there 1,000 years with turmoil. Before that, it was probably about another 20 of just harmony. The people who left from America that they call the Atlanteans or the ancient Amu-Rica is the same dynasty that built and created Egypt. This is facts. This is facts. When you see Egypt, you see agriculture. The agriculture that's there in Egypt all come from the Americas. Every bit of crop. As soon as they started building, you started seeing agriculture in Egypt and what you call Kemet. The agriculture that was built all originate the origins of the plant, the origin of the fruit, the origin of that species of live vegetable crop or herbs come from the Americas. This is facts. That shit come from the Americas. I'm talking about cauliflower. I'm talking about, man, I wish I could pull it up right now. I ain't even got it saved. I'll pull it up in a minute. But listen, I'm talking about everything, man. Corn, tobacco, chocolate, the cocoa plant. And you know, there's several different variations come from the cocoa plant. We know that it's a substance that's used as a hallucinogenic that is classified as a substance, Schedule 2 substance that they call cocaine. This is an ancient method that was used in America and it was used in Egypt. How did the mummies in Egypt have ingested large amounts, a percentage of cocaine that has been tested in almost 17 different mummies in Africa, 3 being in Egypt, the rest of them being tested in the Sudan, all having cocaine and tobacco inside of their intestines. When cocaine and tobacco plant comes from America, they don't even have an ancient form of it that grows in any surrounding nations by Africa, not Asia, not Europe, not East India. They all comes from the America. So you talking about either ancient pharmaceutical of ancient pharmacists or ancient drug dealers. Which one is it? That's my next bill. We're gonna probably have to get into the cocaine mummies, man. I think that's a good bill for y'all, man. I think y'all about ready for that one, man. We taking the show on the road, man. The Aboriginals took their show on the road, y'all. The science, the medicine, the theological understanding of this universe, they took it across the globe. And then this degenerate pale-faced nation that has mastered technology has set it sail to destroy and hide all of your information. This is not a regular historical breakdown when we looking at this matter. This is me coming as an inspector AP. I'm not looking at it as a history. I'm looking at it as a crime scene. And together we are the investigators, and we are accumulating enough data to put a crime towards the people who still exist today. That's called a class action lawsuit. May the nations be upon them and be able to spread this joy and information to our people. This is a beautiful thing here. To be able to captivate all this information, to be able to elaborate what's going on is beautiful. But to be able to catch these people in the lie, in the show, and prove the inconsistencies within a story and narrative is more overwhelming to me at this point, because everything that they have told us is a lie. Now we just got to be able to think outside the box and break it down. We are the inventors of 0 to 9. No math, no obstacle can be overcome. No problem that can't be solved. We are the mound builders. We are the progenitors of science and information. We are the inventors of medicine and surgery and metallurgy. Listen, man, there's nothing that can be done for our people that we can't and ain't already did for ourselves. There's no label or term that can be applied to our people that can describe our people based off our inventions and innovations and contributions to the world. So shout out to all the American Aborigines out there, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to the American Aborigines, man. Don't let nobody lie. They've been lying to you for a while. African Americans ain't Africans. I'm going to say it again. Shout out to Curry Davis, by the way. Shout out to Curry Davis. African Americans is not Africans. They're Aborigine, man.
That's a dope ass name. They got a lot of people here. That name was catchy as hell. I feel you on that, Power. African Americans ain't African.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a catchy ass name. Shout out to Curry Davis. Shout out to the indigenous one. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Aborigines that's dropping inserts to our people, that's bringing them to understanding their true knowledge so they can understand their true power, because power is knowledge of self. You understand me? You can't have no power if you don't know what the fuck you is. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
big facts.
We just here to wake up our people, man. They try to bury us in the dirt. not knowing that we were seeds. I want y'all to keep that in y'all mind. That's a very, very, very slick thing to say. Shout out to my brother Hawk School for bringing that quote to us. They try to bury us in the dirt, not knowing that we were seeds. And look how much growth we have came from our indoctrination process that they have started.
Tribe.
Shout out to my brother Hawk School. Man, this a fire ass bill, man. I'm gonna let y'all do it for a second. My brother Knowledge, I got my brother Knowledge the most on this bitch. We got root words, we got Hawk School, man. Y'all turn up, man. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm about to mute. Let y'all rock.
Shit, let me just say something real quick, because when it comes to these cocaine mummies, I know that's gonna be a different bill, but we know where that cocaine comes from, Americas, right? But most specifically, mostly the South America. So that show anybody that's fucking with that cocaine know somebody that them folks was somehow dealing with these people.
Right.
Well, we could get into that, you know what I mean, another time.
Yeah, we can get into that.
So you're saying that like, how can I put this right now? Like, all right, you know how like they'll say, if you have real bad, if you have no insurance or stuff like that, you worse off if you, you better off if you have real good insurance. So what I'm saying is, what y'all saying about cocaine and in the mummies, you had to be in the Americas to have that good insurance, and if you wasn't in the Americas, you ain't had that good insurance.
That's fact, and it was
it's proven that people had to come to the Americas and get all that shit.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna drop some shit on y'all real quick. There's cocaine plants that grow all over the South of America. They derooted a lot of the cocaine plants and made it illegal. But it was used to be also wild opium bushes all throughout America, going as far as Virginia as well.
Hey, you know, I can't recall the name of the tribe, but it's a tribe that the elevation of the mountains they live in South America is so high. They say they chew on the coca leaf just so they can maintain at them elevations. The whole tribe of them motherfuckers just chewing on leaves. I shot like a motherfucker, bro.
I was watching the show last week. It was just last week where people just when they go to the highest point of Peru in them places, it's a must. They tell them like, here, grab this bag of cocoa leaf so you ain't gonna be able to stay up this high. That's a must when you go to them.
You gotta chew it. They gonna chew them bitches. They chewing the leaves, just eating that shit right up on the way up, just chewing it, just keeping it in their mouth, chewing it like little, you know what I mean, tobacco or some shit. You feel what I'm saying?
So that's saying people of the Americas.
Well, see,
listen though, they didn't always just do that with it. They process the spice from it, which is
they you know, a lot of them pharaohs and shit, when they was doing the excavations and shit on these niggas, they had fucked up teeth. And that's what them niggas was using that cocaine for them motherfucking toothaches and shit. So it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, we ain't gonna paint the picture like it wasn't medical, because our people, you know what I'm saying, everything been taken from us and misdirected and misused and shit. But niggas was using that coke for painkillers, because them pharaohs was dying from rotten teeth. That's how I knew them niggas wasn't nobody special.
It probably started off like that as medical, like a perky, right? But we know what the perky was for now.
Fact.
You feel what I'm saying? It might have started off like lean, but we know what lean is used for now. So
same shit.
Ancient Egypt was like Hollywood.
They was dope things.
It was like Hollywood.
It was Hollywood. Pedophilia, motherfucking drug addicts, motherfucking idol worship. It's Hollywood. Witchcraft, sorcery, spells, spirit swapping.
I might have to break that down for y'all. Real talk.
So look, I just seen the advertisement. It was an advertisement picture from like 1885 or 1865. Right. 15 cents could get you some little bottle of cocaine toothache drops made out of cocaine.
And that's what that's Aboriginal shit.
That was 1865, 1885.
They probably.
Hey, y'all remember that movie with Wide Earp in it?
And stole that nigga idea, because he was probably the neighborhood pharmacist. He probably dropping them off to everybody with a little toothache. You understand me?
All the shamans probably knew what time it was.
Wide Earp? Y'all remember in Wide Earp when the so-called European went to the West?
And let's talk about it.
Holiday. He was going to California to get that opium and that medicinal stuff so he could save his life because tuberculosis and polio was still
Absolutely.
you could still So I'm just saying what y'all saying is correct, that us over here was the institution of medication around this motherfucker from
Let's
the north
talk
to the
about
south.
it though. That same plant is also a spice that comes from it that we call chocolate. Huh? See? That it's a spice that's in that same plant that's abstract that we call cocoa, which is the chocolate. And that was produced and shipped out all throughout Europe. It never really
And
made
look,
it to parts of Africa. And you can see it in certain posts. My bad. Go ahead, big bro.
Oh, go ahead. I was cutting you off. I didn't mean to do that, bro. But yeah, Hershey Park, like all of that stuff, like they was making chocolate here. This was something that was only found in Americas. They ain't have chocolate in London and none of them other places.
And one of the headquarters of chocolate was in Virginia down to the northern borders of North Carolina. And DC being one of the capital places that produced the chocolate at that one time. It should be ancient cocoa plants all throughout DC. And it ain't ironic to call it the chocolate city at one point in time. That's not ironic.
That's dope. That's deep. And then like when you got like places like Hershey Park, like Hershey City, all of them places is actually built. That's indigenous land that was actually reconstruction and so said to be, you know what I mean, owned by these rich merchants that set up companies and shit.
Right.
But that all of that stuff was you know, all of that they pick specific spots and they name it specific things because they know what's actually there, like the history of that before them. So like Hershey Park was a place that produced chocolate, and it was also a place that brought up in one of those mud flood videos. I think it was dealing with one of the world fairs and shit.
Oh yeah,
that
that's
Hershey
dope.
Park.
Dope.
Yeah, but and all of the plants and stuff, like this was a real floral place. Like that's why Florida is named Florida. You know, floral. You know.
Yeah, the root word is
Plant.
flor, and fleor, that means flowers. And we know back in the day, maybe still till today, that 90% of all medication come from the flora, the flowers. You made a good point, brother.
Yeah.
So it comes from
Okay. And think
Florida.
about this, right?
I think
The symbol today that they call the fleur de lis.
I think it's mistranslated from flower, but I think because you know other translations say plant. It's translated as plant. And when you go back and look at Florida, they got some of the most sophisticated forts that we ever seen, and that they call forts. It's made of brick. These are buildings, and I think these was ancient power plants. And I think that the Florida mistranslate to instead of flower. I think the correct translation should be plant, and it's often argued.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because
What I
there
was
ain't
gonna
no
say
place on the world that has a let me make sure I say this right. The Everglades, and what you saying makes sense though, because I never looked at it like that though. Because yes, it has there's only there, and the place in South America has more species of animals than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
So you're right. It was something. Yeah, you're right.
Florida got a lot of damn animals. You fuck around, might see a bobcat, a jaguar, an alligator in your bushes. You got, I think it's bears down there. Am I not? Ain't it bears in Florida, nigga? Am I tripping?
Man, y'all know the
But what you
Florida
saying
brothers
make total sense when you say that. When you say it was like some type of power machines in them forts around Florida. My opinion of it, they was hooked up with a lot of other power plants, like in Cuba, the islands, up in Georgia. So it was a bigger sophistication. It's a big ass sophistication machine. We just might not get my opinion of it, but
Man, this is a beautiful world, and the greatest lie America ever told was that it was nothing going on here. That's the greatest lie. The cover up of your Aboriginal history and contributions in your civilization that you descend from is the greatest lie America has ever told.
yeah, whatever the ecosystem down there is in Florida, when they built that highway, that run through Florida and knock that ecosystem out. I just seen it a couple months ago. They lightweight fucked the earth up with that. So you right, something in Florida was so special that just it was fucking with the ecosystem. Like I can't even explain it. And they saying that shit ain't man. I mean, ain't
Florida
I ain't gonna say it ain't godly made, but
that was like the capital of the Amaru right there. That was like the capital of the Amaru Empire. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of shit went down in Florida. A lot of shit was down there in Florida. And you got to realize Florida is what they call New Orleans as well. That's part of Florida. That's like the eastern part of Florida. You see what I'm saying?
Gulf.
Yeah, that whole Gulf right there, Mississippi, Gulf Shores, all that little area right there. That's all ancient Florida. And that's the capital of the Amaru. That's the capital of the Amaru. And so, you know, Alberto Vespucci came down here, did his little observation, ran into them niggas. They showed them great hospitality. He even mentioned them doing witchcraft, talks about them bubbling, sitting in water while as it bubbled up with white suds. Nigga, he taking a bath. It ain't witchcraft, my nigga. I promise. Listen, he just taking a bath. You
taking an alkaline bath.
Yeah, he soak it up. You feel what I'm saying? So
that's that baking soda hitting. You know what I mean? That bath bombs.
So special. He named his name.
And when y'all look at Florida,
Amaru. He named himself after the Amaru, naming himself Alberto Vespucci.
That's a fact.
If y'all ever look up capitals before USA, if y'all ever look up capitals before USA, before 1789, St. Augustine, they're gonna say the Seminole tribe. Okay, the Seminole tribe in the Augustine area. There you go. They're gonna say that was the head tribe or the head nation of all the South. But when you go down South Florida, it's gonna say it was the capital of the fucking Caribbean islands. So that's why I hold my tongue sometimes. Like Florida had like some type of American connection and some type of Caribbean connection. Like it was two parts of Florida. I can't just look up capitals of America. My fault.
As a matter of fact, right on the western tips of Cuba, leading into Florida, headed into the Gulf of Mexico, you got an underground civilization that picture of them pyramids right up under there been going viral for the last 5-6 years. And that's estimated to be 50,000 years old minimum, because that's the last time water levels was that low enough to build a structure there was at least 50,000 years ago. So that structure up under there is at least 50,000. You see what I'm saying? So the connection that we're looking for is going to have to go back at least 50,000 years. At least. That's just through simple math. And to get the true pictures, when you go back and look at the geography of America 50,000 years ago, it looks different. This is when we get into oceanography. You see what I'm saying? This is when we get into ancient shorelines. You see what I'm saying? This is a whole different set of science right there, which I love to get into.
Ancient maps.
Yeah.
Well, you know, on my last bill, all was Aboriginal legacy in the lakes is showing how they literally just flooded cities, you know what I'm saying, and made artificial lakes. And like we're literally still like the structures are still underwater, graves still underwater, like in Forsyth, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? There was an instance of that, but it's like numerous cities, like at least a dozen, if not more, you know what I'm saying? But it's a dozen documented cities of ours that have just been completely flooded and are underneath artificial lakes as we speak.
That's a big facts, man. We got 311 people in here. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. If I can ask y'all one thing, man, hit the like button. If y'all enjoying the build, man, support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information at the bottom of the screen, man. Make sure y'all thumb up the video, though, man. Most importantly, share the live stream. But yeah, man, it's a lot of underground cities and shit. Michigan, we already know through the
Salt Lake City. It's tons of them. And 432 the Drop, not to cut you off. 432 the Drop got a video where he basically just started talking about it's like it's over 19,000 dams in America that I mean basically you can see they can control the direction of of the water. They could control where it went. And now we got so much shit that's been flooded out that this, whoever understood how the shit worked before, they not here, and these folks that then flood out
Hey, brother,
and
knowledge.
thousands of cities.
Hey, my
Go ahead,
brother,
bro.
I ain't mean to cut you off, but my man King, what's his name? 423 to drop. Shout out to Con Drop, man. He been going in. Shout out to Con Drop. He been rocking with us. We've been rocking with him for a long time. Salute to Con Drop, man. And listen, when you talk about these dams and waterways, listen, I ain't even gonna lie. I will refer you to one of the best that talks about it. Shout out to Root Words, man. That nigga one of the best that comes to talk about the river and waterways, man. Shout out to Rudy Root.
It's glad to be a part of the Aboriginal team, man. That's the best I can say. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing that 2 or 3 different people talking about stuff like that. And he said 20,000, 20 to 85,000, somewhere around there. Yes, it's in the tens of thousands, man, and it stops the flow of our land. Yes, I'm glad to be a part of that. Thank you, though.
But listen, them dams wasn't always, man. Listen, some of these dams wasn't always there, man, and a lot of these dams is convert to what we call rivers today, and these rivers cover up these old canals and roads and railway systems that's up under there, man. See, a lot of people don't know that. That's what that shit was really created and used for. These people been around fucking off our shit for so long, it's ridiculous.
That's a fact.
No doubt. So just in the old maps that show that Colorado, the California was separate. And then when you do the research on like it's like I think it's like they said almost 1,200 different dams in California, just based around where that Colorado River, you know what I mean?
They completely
just based in that area between California and Colorado, Nevada, and all that.
California ain't even part of America. You see what I'm saying? That bitch voted in for like the last, when it was originally broke off from the prior continent that was out there, and that the scientists today call it Zealandia, right? Which is the Pacific Island civilization going back millions and hundreds of thousands of years ago, that they said was a whole continent that the islands of Fiji and Hawaii and Polynesian is part of, right? They call it Zealandia today. Look it up. They call it the 8th continent. You go look it up, right? But listen, so we know that California eventually broke off from there some time ago, and they estimate that it took 50,000 years for it just to flow in the proximity for them to be able to that we see it today, and that was illustrated in the map in the 1500s. So when you look at maps in the 1500s, that's after already like 50,000 years of it done floated in, and it was still coming in. That's why they tell you eventually California is going to sink, because eventually it's not really connected. They got it connected through man-made dirt, gravel that they call the San Andreas fault line. That bitch just going to break off at any point. At any point. You see what I'm saying?
But the only thing I think we missing out is them dams before the 1915s. I would call it our green light and our yellow light, and our it was the stoplight. Or what I'm saying is, it controlled the flow of the riverways because we didn't have cars. In my opinion, another discussion, that might have been the Underground Railroad or another different name.
Hey, I was gonna say, that shit was essentially, it was like them blocking off the highways and turning motherfucking shit that used to be goddamn thoroughfares into one ways. The same shit they do to traffic in the hood with the streets now. You know what I'm saying? They'll just block the motherfucking street off, and that's what they did with them waterways. I mean, you think about how they completely stopped the flow of the Nile. That's how I knew Egypt was fake. When I saw them on film documented completely stopping the water flow of the Nile River, my nigga. Like, all this shit is made up. You know what I'm saying? Everything is made up. And like you said, that shit was cutting off the flow of traffic. That was cutting off the flow of our money, our trade, because we was trading on these rivers. You know what I'm saying? And once they cut that shit off and flooding our shit out and bankrupting niggas, because see, all that shit was bankrupting niggas, flooding shit out, burning shit up. And that's how they was bankrupting niggas. And then they could come in and renovate. And renovate, novating is a real estate term when you put the property under a new contract. That's why now they talking about they're renovating the building. That means new contract. Like the shit is right in our face.
Follow the river.
Tribe.
Hey man, this was one of my favorite bills, man.
Yeah,
This was a dope ass
the
live stream.
water, the water flow is very important. And like for example, they say like a lot of people compare this what they call the Nile River today to the Mississippi River back in the day, and the Missouri River.
That's
And
because
Missouri
it's
is
a
also
great river.
known as Mound City. So like
That's right.
they got depictions from explorers saying that, you know, going down the Missouri River or the Mississippi River would have been like riding through ancient Egypt. That's because it is. So,
Well, you
and
know,
the
the Mississippi.
Mississippi River actually, oh, my fault. Hold on. Let me just say this real quick. The Mississippi River at one point actually flowed all the way from the North Pole through Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico. So it was like an actual river all the way from the North Pole in a way.
Well,
But
you
when
know,
we look at that
it's the great
Mississippi
river.
River,
It's the
for
great
some
river.
reason,
That's the
whoever made
translation
that.
in the
Oh, my fault, my
Hebrew.
fault, my fault.
Is great river. Not to cut you off, but the translation is great river. Nile is a made up word that doesn't exist in that scripture at all. The translation
Right.
is great river, and that's the Mississippi. Not only that, but the Mississippi has 7 sister rivers that come off of it.
Preach.
The fake Nile in Egypt don't have 7 sister rivers coming off of it. So that means that's not the Nile that's spoke of in the Bible.
Preach.
But I land.
And so, yeah, man, like all this history has been told to you in a lie. And there's no way that we can undo the lie and give you the truth within one segment. That's why a lot of these bills are kind of lengthy. And man, we almost reached 3 hours, man. We're gonna end this live stream, man. I do got something special for y'all tomorrow. With it, man. Shout out to my boy Hawk School. Shout out to Root Words, and shout out to Knowledge the Most, man. This was a good build. That's why I like these builds to go, man. This was a dope ass build, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the chat. Can I get y'all to flood the chat out with some fire emojis if y'all enjoyed the build? Can we get y'all to flood the chat out with some fire emojis?
You know something? Just 30 seconds.
Hey, look, after the build, make sure y'all go back into the video and just leave a comment, man. You know what I mean?
Leave a comment for sure.
Just something that's special about Canada and America, and I'll say it's connected to Mexico. Man, it's one river. I'm ended on that. It's one fucking river.
Welcome to Atlantis.
Welcome
to Atlantis. I love that shit, man. I need that. Hey, that's a fact, man. But we talking to the ambassador. I mean, not the ambassador, but what's your title is? Cause Hawk School. You know, I forgot.
I don't know. I ain't give myself no title. I just know I'm riding for the Republic of Atlantis.
Yeah, the Republic of Atlantis.
Yeah, one nation. Above it all.
Above it all, man. You already know we're gonna make America great again. You understand me? And that's by waking up the minds of the lost gods and the descendants that built this nation and these structures and the science that they use. With that being said, man, I'm gonna let y'all close out. Knowledge and Hawk School, Root, I'll let y'all close out real quick before we get out of here.
Man, look, peace and love to everybody, man. Appreciate you having me on the panel. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to the chat, man. Much love.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me on the panel. Salute, No Lodge, Hawk. Thank you, Aboriginal Power, once again. Hit the like, everybody, and glad for this powerful bill. Salute.
Appreciate you, Root Words. Appreciate you, Knowledge. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to my boy Hawk School, man. With that being said, man, I want to shout out some of the people that took the time out to donate to the channel. We appreciate all the support. You know what I'm saying? We really do, man. We appreciate all the support over here at Aboriginal Power Platform, man. Y'all notice the Wake and Bake channel. Let this shit cracking on the motherfucking YouTube right now. So, man, let me shout out to my boy Arthur Livingston for supporting the channel, man, sending in the Cash App donation. And shout out to Ricardo D for sending in the Cash App donation as well. He said, for y'all cooking. He said, y'all was cooking this bill, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it, man. Shout out to all the American Aboriginals, man. Shout out to Ricardo D and Arthur Livingston for supporting the channel. If y'all want to support the channel, if y'all enjoyed the bill and you want to send a donation, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. With that being said, man, peace and love, man. I enjoyed this bill for real, man. It was a dope bill. With that being said, peace and love to all the American Aborigines. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure y'all be aware. Make sure y'all stay vigilant, man. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, man. Be peace. Peace.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. Alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me care. I gotta sleep with one eye open. Children been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them care. They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open. Children been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them care. They won't see me. Yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, children been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them care. They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, children been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them care. They won't see me. Yeah.
Lost, see, I glide.